The Buffalo Bills are off the bye, and they'll get back to work later this week as they get ready now to travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. Big news, though, right out of the gate for that game. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young is expected to be out as he deals with a high ankle sprain, but Panthers head coach Dave Canales would not confirm any of that earlier today with the media. But ultimately, if it is true and Young is out, Andy Dalton will be the team's starting quarterback. And then some big injury news for the Chiefs. Second-round rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott is out for the year with a torn ACL. We'll wrap up, though, this week of football with a Monday night doubleheader. It is starting at 7 o'clock. Lions host the Tampa Bay Bucks. Then at 10, it's the Texans. They're out in Seattle versus the Seahawks. Both those games will be over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And that is because it is Sabres game night in Montreal. Pre-game at 6:30 for a 7:30 puck drop. Again, right here on WGR. The Sabres have won 2 in a row. And in that tonight, Alex Lyon gets the nod again. Beck Malensine is out tonight due to personal reasons. And while it is not official, all signs point to defenseman Zach Metza making his debut later tonight. The 27-year-old did play 69 regular season games for Rochester last year and also added in 8 playoff games as well. And then just 4 other games in the NHL tonight, a rather light night. 2 at 7, a Rangers hosting the Wild, and the Kraken are in Philly versus the Flyers. 9:30 sees Calgary Flames hosting the Jets. Then at 10, Carolina is in Vegas to play the Golden Knights. And then in baseball, it's all the marbles tonight. Game 7 of the ALCS. Winner will take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber and George Kirby on the bump tonight. First pitch just after 8 p.m. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Hard salami's okay, but it's not as good, right? Although maybe if you're French vanilla, you'd be like hard salami.
You mean the best vanilla?
The fake vanilla.
The delicious
the
vanilla?
Fake vanilla.
The creamy vanilla without sand and dirt in it?
It's Mike Schopp.
I like that
sand
one.
and dirt. The beans.
Yeah.
The specks.
Yes.
Are the problem.
Yeah, it's granular.
The actual what vanilla is, the absolute worst take you've ever had. Because it's on different levels of offensiveness.
I have a lot of questions. Number 1, how dare you?
And the Bulldog.
Maybe when you first made the ice cream, they were interested in making it, I don't know, good, and added cream to it to make it creamy, like thus ice cream, not ice sand, ice gravel.
People, what do we even do?
I mean, what are we talking about?
Help.
Police! Help! Police! Help!
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Monday. I mean, why not?
Comes every week.
Brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. Well. Andy Dalton. What about you, Huckleberry? You scared? Remember that line from, it's 2 lines, from The Natural? When he's getting ready to pitch against or try to strike out the whammer. And they come up with the idea, I bet he can strike you out on 3 pitch balls. He does. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, the movie's 41 years old.
Yeah.
But the whammer says to him, what about you, Huckleberry? Scared? Are we scared of Andy Dalton? Is that how bad it is?
No.
In second place?
No, we're not allowed. No, we're not allowed to be scared of Andy Dalton.
Would you rather face Bryce Young than Andy Dalton? I would. This is worse. This is definitely worse for the Bills.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends, I guess, on what you think it takes to beat the Bills. Because Bryce Young would have a higher ceiling than Andy Dalton.
Now, who could reach it?
And if he hits it, he can make a few plays on you. I mean, I don't know. Are we back to he's terrible again now? Is that what's happening?
Did you watch?
I did. I did.
I think he is.
Yeah.
You know what he is that doesn't help him?
Oh, my God, if you say inconsistent.
Small.
Right. Oh, sure. Right.
I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Inconsistent. I mean, you know me better than that. I hate to say it, but he's small.
Yeah.
How is Jacoby Brissett so much better than Kyler Murray? Like McBride, right? Didn't we all draft or want to draft Trey McBride? And then it's Kyler Murray, and remember, he doesn't score touchdowns, and like just sort of there's a weird thing with Arizona. Murray leaves, and we're not playing them, I know, but Murray leaves, and then they lost both games, but they easily could have won both games with Jacoby Brissett. There are a number of teams right now in the league, and maybe the Jets are one, but they're just at the point where they don't even care anymore, where they know they're playing the wrong guy.
Yeah.
In the name of development and draft capital. Minnesota.
Yeah. Carolina is not that. Still. I mean, last year happened. Young became sort of like a don't overreact too quickly guy, right? So this year's been uneven again. I refuse to be scared of Andy Dalton.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I do. You could look. I got fat last week betting on Joe Flacco. Right, a lot of good it did me in fantasy. His 29 points did not hold up to the rest of our absolute garbage fire of a roster this week. So we're losing by like 50. But anyway,
better than me.
I mean, Dalton is certainly capable of having, he never had the highs in his career that he never had that, incredible playoff run where he threw 11 touchdowns and no interceptions on the way to winning the Super Bowl. No one really saw coming. But, comparable enough, veteran, journeyman guy. Could he have a day? Sure. I would predict it's more likely that Bryce Young could have a day than Andy Dalton.
What does a Bryce Young day look like? 243 and 2 and no picks, and maybe he runs one in?
Just efficient. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I think this is one of those. I'm not afraid of him either. I mean, the Bills are, 8-point favorites?
I haven't even looked.
The thing is, though, I think probably when this happens to a team, and it wouldn't be unanimous, it never is. Oh, this team came out flat. All of them? It's 53 guys. All of them? Were there maybe 20 guys who were motivated, but 33 weren't? Like, these kind of blanket statements get made. I bet with Carolina, a team I spent a lot of time thinking about yesterday because I went into that Atlanta game, by the way, feeling like I didn't know anything about Atlanta. And I didn't want that to happen again. So the Panthers. There are probably lots of players on that team. They've had a string of losing, meaningless seasons who are like, okay, maybe they're 4-3 as well. They're not 2-5. They're not like just playing it out.
Maybe a calm, cool, steady veteran hand at the wheel is all we need.
Who's been better in every metric?
I think
compared with Young since forever.
This is a respectable point.
Like, I think there maybe will be some juice with Carolina because of this. And what happens with these sort of things? You said it about Flacco, and I couldn't agree more. They're going to go play the Jets now and watch how bad it is. Flacco. I mean, it doesn't last.
Right.
It didn't last with the Browns. It didn't last with the Colts. It won't last with the Bengals. You get a spark, and defenses really don't know what they're dealing with, and the whole team kind of jumps up. That's what the Bengals was on Thursday night against the Steelers, and it's a unforgettable night. Then it isn't. And I think
right.
I think you don't want to play. They're going to the Bills. You don't want to play Andy Dalton the first week
out of the wrapper, right?
And I think, in week 10 it'd be great if he's still in there. But this is a little bit interesting to me.
I agree that it is a little bit interesting. It was, listen, I mean, I was right about Flacco. He could have been a pumpkin right away. And I think that is, just as likely an outcome with Dalton, that he's going to throw it to you a few times because he never had the biggest arm in the world. And if it's deteriorated enough that he thinks he can still do stuff that he really can't, I mean, there's your in. But, you are playing against a secondary that doesn't really seem to be reacting much to where the ball's going.
The Bills.
The Bills, yeah. Oh. So, I mean, that is a problem.
You know what else he did?
Ended the drought.
Well, okay. Right, and we sent him a lot of money.
Right.
What else he did yesterday was he brought Leggett out of hibernation. We talk about Xavier Worthy all the time. We've never talked about Xavier Leggett, one of the other top Xaviers from that draft.
It's mostly because I didn't want him as bad as I wanted Xavier Worthy.
And he hasn't done anything.
Right, that helps.
There's been no reason to fret about the Bills not picking Leggett.
In your face, Bills. No, not really.
Scored the only touchdown in that game yesterday. I mean, they traded Thielen, so there isn't Thielen anymore, but it's Leggett and Coker, and, of course, the top pick Tet McMillan, who had a quiet game yesterday.
And the 2 running backs.
And the 2 running backs, which we'll see if they know what they want to do there.
I felt like I read an inordinate amount of analysis on how they can best capitalize on having 2 running backs yesterday.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
And I just thought, well, I mean, I just kept thinking, why this is not something that's uncommon in the league right now. Why are we fretting about what they're going to do with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard?
Hubbard.
I don't get it.
I think
take turns. It's not that hard.
Well, they did.
Okay,
almost literally, they traded drives, but Dowdle was much better than Hubbard, and he just went over 200 yards from scrimmage in back-to-back weeks, which that's like very rare in NFL history. But Hubbard, I almost said Hubbard, Chuba Hubbard wasn't hurt, or he was healthy. They don't want you to lose your job to injury, so he folds in and went back and forth, and they were just like never threatened in the game, so all is well. Dowdle, I think, is the much better player. To me, like, they'll probably drag it out all week. They did last week, we don't know what we're going to do. And I think maybe preparing for running backs is maybe like preparing for goalies, which is just sort of the team that keeps you wondering, is just having its fun, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, am I going to shoot differently because goalie B is playing than goalie A, but the other team can't bring itself to tell me who the goalie's going to be.
Yeah.
I just think it's minimal.
I would agree it's minimal. I think goalies have tendencies, and you're in alone on a guy. You think there's a weak spot. I think you probably want to be aware of that. So I would say that matters maybe a little more than this.
Okay, but how hard is it for a forward to prepare to know both things?
Not that hard.
Once the game starts, the coach is right there to tell you, this is the guy who goes down.
It's only 13 minutes, not even 13 minutes after 3. It's a second good point this segment. I got to concede. I don't know.
I mean, of course, you can just tell them, and they would already know, but you just tell them once the game starts.
Yeah.
What happens when they put the backup in? You tell them then. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. But Dowdle has been great, and Hubbard is good. Well, I mean, are you out there, are you thinking so much about Andy Dalton or Drake May today? Maybe Drake May?
It's hard not to be thinking about Drake May and the Patriots and the Chiefs if you got an eye full of that. Although, that was not an extended appearance by the Kingpins there. That game was so easy. It was just not even funny. Oh, my God.
I didn't watch any of that game. I saw highlights of their plays. The Raiders did nothing. 30 plays?
30 plays in an NFL game. The fewest since at least 2002. I don't know why that's a line of demarcation, but that was what I saw yesterday. I didn't go looking earlier today if there was an update on that.
The fewest I saw since the first game back for the Cleveland Browns, which would have been, I think, 99.
Okay.
And they played the Steelers and lost 43-0. And they ran, if I read it right, I'm going to look now, 28 plays in that game. And the Raiders ran 30. Even with everybody taking the fourth quarter off, they ran 30 plays.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always, and we do.
They were kneeling before the 2-minute warning, and the Raiders had their timeouts. They had just went, yeah, fine, we can all leave.
And the Raiders never got to the red zone.
what a
in
performance.
The game.
What a performance.
The Browns in this game, the 99 opener, had 2 first downs to Pittsburgh's 33. 33-2.
Welcome back to the NFL.
Welcome back. Amazingly, they stayed after that.
Right. They've barely ever been good, but yes, they have stayed.
I think with the Chiefs, we can think and talk about them. We always do anyway. And unless you're somebody that wrote them off, we talk about people who did that. I don't know anybody who did that. Just who are we talking about when we talk about people? Your crazy friend, the guy that called in the one time to say that Patrick Mahomes would get hurt. Just who are the people that actually talk like that?
I don't know any of them.
They're not even worth really spending a thought on. Most people, if not all, wouldn't have written off Kansas City after 5 games. Instead, you can look at them, think about them, be daunted by them. It is what it's always been. That's still there. It didn't go away. You might have thought it could have, but it didn't. You might have thought that last year.
It seemed like for 2 years maybe they were never going to be that offense again, but lo and behold, they've got everybody back and they are that offense again. Another 280 yards from Mahomes. I mean, he's rolling, they're rolling.
But I would say this if it were the opposite of that, what the Chiefs look like on their worst day. What would we have said about the Bills' chances in a playoff game against Kansas City, other than the fact that, they'll lose? What would we have said about a Bills playoff game against a bad-looking Kansas City team? You never know.
Right.
What happened last year?
Right.
Maybe they'll get it right. I'm doing that with this, which is put the Bills in Arrowhead Stadium next week for a playoff game. What, are they going to get blown out? I guess, maybe, but they could also easily win. To me, it's not even like, it's not that different. I mean, they do look like they're going to be there. Their chances of winning the AFC West have improved a lot in the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
The Chargers lose again.
And the Broncos
Denver, oh my God,
saved the day yesterday. I mean, holy Moses, what a game.
But they look so beatable.
Yeah.
Like it feels right now, I should have looked at the odds. It feels right now like it's Kansas City's again in the AFC West. They have 3 losses, but the Bills have 2.
Right.
And they'll play next Sunday, by the way, which will be massive. So I'm just saying, like, Kansas City's Kansas City.
And they look way better than the Bills look right now. The inverse was probably true 3 or 4 weeks ago, at least to the wider NFL world. We were, in the details and why is this game closer than it should be, and I need a roughing the punter penalty, etc. But yeah, I think a hard thing about the NFL season can be to partially, if not entirely, disregard the result, what happens in the games. Like, it doesn't have to mean anything to when the Bills and Chiefs play in 2 weeks. It doesn't have to mean anything to when they play maybe in 2 months or 3 months or whenever that'll be in January. What they look like currently against the Atlanta Falcons and or the New Orleans Saints or the Raiders or anyone, really. It does not matter. They're going to get on the field, and it'll probably be a close game. And God forbid I've got the ball in my hands with a chance to win it with a touchdown late again, and then I got to listen to 6 more months of my defense isn't any good.
2 things can both be true.
That's right. So, but
good point.
They'll be
3.
They'll be the game. It'll be. It's going to be. I think it's tracking the same way as it's tracked every year since the Bills got good.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. The only difference is instead of Baltimore being out in front of both of them, like you had a couple of years ago, or just whatever. It's just a new. It's not a familiar stalwart at the top of the conference at 6-1. It's the Indianapolis Colts, who still, you might still want to dismiss them because Daniel Jones was terrible for quite a while with the New York Giants and kind of a punchline. But every time I'm watching Red Zone last night. I wasn't just sitting there watching the Colt game. I did not have access to it. I might have liked to just sit with it just to get a feel for them, down in, down out. But, man, they look sharp. I mean, I just don't see any negative plays from them. The quarterback doesn't make any mistakes. They're taking it away. They seem to run it anytime they want. He's got guys open everywhere he's throwing the ball. I mean, it's just very, very on point, I would say, Indianapolis.
That's a very interesting analysis that I've always really liked since the first time I heard anybody say it. And it happens to have been Phil Simms, who was doing a Bills-Jets game, maybe the only Bills-Jets game ever where both teams were good. 1998, late in the season in Buffalo on a Saturday. And he was talking about, he might have been talking about Bill Parcells saying it. Wasn't Parcells the Jets coach at that time with Testaverde? And anyway, I was in an airport for this game between flights, and the volume was up, and Sims said about Doug Flutie. Maybe he was quoting Parcells. He's like, the thing he's done is he's gotten rid of all their bad plays. And, you think about quarterback that way. Just there aren't going to be any bad plays. Our sacks are going to be incomplete passes. Our interceptions are going to be incomplete passes.
Right.
Or they're going to be flags on the defense. We're going to put the ball in places, or they're going to be running plays. We're just not going to have any bad plays. And the Bills won a lot of games with him, kind of doing that. Mm-hmm. And maybe that is the Colts. And they're also, Jonathan Taylor, right now, no gymnastics are necessary for the Offensive Player of the Year. Like, you don't have to, but a running back. But this, what if the award was thought of this way? I don't think we need to do that. As of now, it's Jonathan Taylor. Mm-hmm. He has 10 rushing touchdowns, 700 yards rushing in 7 games. Like, he is their engine.
Yep.
And Jones is not screwing it up.
He's not hurting him at all.
He's probably doing a little bit better than just not screwing it up.
I think that's fair,
But, let's see Josh Allen win a road playoff game in his life like Daniel Jones has already done. Let's see him do that.
Bulletin board.
I wonder if you can do that one of these years. Win a playoff game on the road.
Right.
Bulldog, I shouldn't just say you. We all kind of want to not have to find that out this year because you want the Bills to be the one, in which case they won't have to win a playoff game on the road. But they've had to every one of these years, and they've never been able to do it. The one, we're 7 weeks in, doesn't look great. Indianapolis is 6-1. New England is 5-2.
You're tied with you didn't play this week, so you didn't get to keep pace. But you're in the mess with. I mean, before yesterday, I think there were a half a dozen 4-2 teams in the conference, and I think most everybody won. Right? Denver came. The Chargers lost. They were one of them too. Jacksonville also lost, so they were among those teams.
Yep.
So I still think the point was when we started talking about Indianapolis was I think it's the same season as any one of these seasons. It's just there's someone you might think of as an imposter atop the heap right now after 7 weeks. You probably haven't spent too much time taking them seriously. Or maybe you have. Maybe you have Sunday Ticket and you're watching the Colts every week because you're building a fear bunker based on Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor running you over in January. I don't know. But it feels like any one of these other years where the Bills have been this level of contender right now. They and the Chiefs, their relationship to me is unchanged.
The Chiefs have both the Bills and the Colts coming up in their next 4 games or 5 games. Indianapolis hosts Kansas City in Week 12. And KC is here next week. What do the Chiefs have? Oh, Washington. Well, that timing might be good. They have Washington on Monday night at home before coming here and then the bye. Then the Chiefs thing is tough. At Denver, Indianapolis, at Dallas. It's tough. It's not tough for the Patriots, though. We've talked about it for months. Now it's the Browns at home. They won 3 road games in a row, starting with the game here. They win in New Orleans, they win in Tennessee, and now they go to Cleveland.
Easily in Tennessee, too. And be careful. It's not because Tennessee should be or is to be respected and so good, but if you were thinking the Patriots were going to stub their toe or anything, they're new at this, they just went and just put a team down.
It took a while, didn't it, for them to get going?
I guess.
And then I saw Cam Ward do the empty hand flub.
Yeah,
that's not good. Are you still into him?
I don't want.
You done?
I'm not.
Not taking questions?
I'm not taking any questions on Cam Ward. It's not been good.
There's another guy whoever their backup is, they'd be better. There are a lot of teams like that. It's not pretty, but maybe last year the Bears were one.
Right, you got to keep
and
going.
And they came through it.
Yeah.
Right.
You do. I think you do got to keep going. I think there is still hope for Cam Ward, but it's not going well. Obviously,
no,
they're not in a good spot.
It is not going well. I don't know who is the backup there. He probably got in yesterday. Who's the backup in Tennessee?
Billy Volek.
Whoever it is has not thrown a pass yet this year, so I can't even tell you from Pro Football Reference. There's no way to find out. All right, Football Monday with a hockey game tonight. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Our guest today at 4, Matt Verram. Then we're wide open until 6:30. How rude. 6:30, Sabres and Canadians. Paul Hamilton is in Montreal and will join us as the Sabres go for a 3rd straight win. How about that?
Brandon Allen, by the way, is the backup quarterback of the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, well, is there a clamor
I don't think there's a clamor.
in Nashville? Is there a clamor for Brandon Allen? No, you just might as well keep going.
Trevor Siemian on the practice squad, if you want him.
Been to a Pro Bowl.
That thus ends the Tennessee Titans portion of today's broadcast schedule.
He has been to a Pro Bowl. How many Bills have been to a Pro Bowl that they drafted in the last 7 years?
Deion, Josh Allen.
No, I don't think Deion. Oh, yeah, he has. He has, but since the 18 draft is the stat that's fresh in my mind.
Oh, okay.
Last 7 drafts, how many Pro Bowls? How many Pro Bowl players?
It's just the one, isn't it?
Allen and Knox.
Oh. Didn't Cook go?
Did he?
Probably as an injury. He's been. Yeah.
Is it 3?
You got to be. Yeah.
Is it 7 and I'm just reading the wrong stats?
It just might be because they got named after the initial. You know what I mean? The replacement guys.
Does that count?
It goes
Named
on.
to a Pro
It
Bowl.
goes on the resume.
Named to a Pro Bowl.
I don't know.
No, you can't just be like a fill-in because 7 other guys bowed out. Well, we'll fix this in post. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at Football Monday, 803-0550 for your thoughts on Week 7. The Bills go to Carolina Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's reasonable, smart scheduling. We'll talk about that, of course, going forward here. Lines are open for you. This is WGR. Taking a moment here to talk about
dancing so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, I'm right. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the
ankle in different ways to see if we can't get him back out there on Wednesday in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to just take it that way. And saw him this morning, talked to him, and he's like, let's push this thing, let's see what we got, you know. And so we're going to try to take that approach with it and just go from there.
Dave Canales, stay tuned this week to find out how Bulldog decides to hate him. Carolina coach. Is this one that we actually, though, where we actually saw the injury, Bryce Young,
Yes.
or it's not another? He's actually hurt, guys.
I think we saw it. Yeah. He went down awkwardly. Foot was trapped under him and got up and hobbled off and didn't play again. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's when he got hurt.
Sounds right. Although, even if you didn't see it, you might think, listen, can you come here for a second? Just come here for a second. We're 4-3. We're Carolina. You guys want to be doing this again in 2 years, or maybe we could make a change here? Minnesota did it, and just sort of keep our 101 over there for a little while and see if we can't get into playoff position. See what happens. Minnesota did do this, and is the experiment over? Is it time now for
I think it kind
them
of
to just
should be.
go back to
yeah.
McCarthy's actually fine? He never was hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not want to keep playing Carson Wentz by choice. I'm pretty confident saying that.
No, I agree.
If I were them.
But it's also, they tried it, they did win a game or two. They did win. They beat the Browns, barely. Lost to Pittsburgh, lost yesterday. All close games.
Yeah.
But they're protecting McCarthy. And the Panthers could be, well, they did it last year. Young was just terrible last year. They weren't in a race.
Right.
But at 4-3, they might think, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be conspiratorial about this.
They're 4-3 with him as quarterback,
he's already hurt.
whatever his flaws are. But he's, I
right.
don't think there's any question about his injury at this point.
No, I don't either.
The McCarthy thing was a little fishy. That's right. He didn't appear to be hurt as he finished that game, and then suddenly he had this injury. And so, I don't know, I didn't do a deep forensics dive to find earlier in that same game where he did hurt himself and got through it because of adrenaline or something. I don't know.
Yeah, don't bother.
Yeah, I don't really care that much.
Were you watching the Chiefs game when it was 4th and something and the Chiefs were on offense, because they were always on offense in this game, and it was like a 4th and short, and Tony Romo said something about they're just going to try to draw him off. And then Mahomes did a thing where he sort of looked to the sideline and threw his hands up.
Yeah.
I don't have the play or whatever.
Is this where he was swearing?
Was he?
There's audio of him saying, this bleeping, never bleeping works.
That was what he said?
That was what he said.
And then he gets right back under center and they run for a first down?
Yes, right.
I mean, do you really want to use that against the Raiders? There's a chart today from Tom Bliss, who was an NFL statistician.
Again?
There's another one.
Sorry.
There's always a chart on how teams are doing. This is really wonderful. They're doing the fake pretend to draw you off sides thing and then calling timeout less often than they've done in like at least a decade. We've gotten over ourselves when it comes to this. In 2016, 4th and less than 5 penalties or timeouts called, and then after they're called, there's a special teams play, a punt or a field goal attempt, was 45% of the time on these 9 years ago. Now it's 15. 12% is the team jumping offside. So you're getting the freebie once in a while, and then 73% delay of game or false start. We're not having I'm just going to stand here and hope that you jump, and if you don't, timeout, then punt. We're not getting that as often as we used to, which is really good, because that's dumb.
There is now, I would think, some value in, although it might be swinging around completely to the point where we'll get teams starting to do that thing that they have stopped doing again, because I think there's value in lining up and having everyone, especially your opposition, think what Tony Romo thought yesterday and then actually running a play. Because, okay, just don't jump. Just don't jump.
Right.
Oh, my God, they ran a play. Someone's blocking me all of a sudden. I didn't think they were going to run a play.
I agree.
There's some fraction of a second there where I think there would be an advantage in running the play when you're not expected to, traditionally. And, of course, teams just go for it more often in general now as it is.
Which is also good. Let's go to CJ.
Unless it doesn't work.
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing?
Good, CJ, thanks.
I just want to straight to where we stand as a team. And I know through the drought, we've always had everything except for what we needed when it comes to a team around our quarterback. And now I feel as though our GM has us in a position where the rest of the team is not as strong as our quarterback. If you take Josh Allen off our team, where does the Bills stand against any team in the league? I feel as though our quarterback is better than the Eagles quarterback, but their team around them is phenomenal. I feel as though the Colts team is phenomenal. I feel as though everybody has something and we're wasting Josh Allen. When do we get to the point where we say we're wasting Josh Allen? Our drafts have not been good, but we are not putting elite talent around our most valuable piece on the team. He's doing everything, and I think coordinating or being a coordinator matters. Next year is scary. The Ravens are 1-5. They're going to have an early draft pick. I guarantee to go receiver. I'm just saying next year is going to be an issue. Everybody around us is getting better. If we don't win this year with a weak schedule, so to speak, and grab something now like we did with Amari Cooper last year after 2 losses, it's time to reach. I know Von Miller was supposedly a reach, but stop going defense. Give help to your best offensive piece. We'll let the defense catch up later. You make people one-dimensional if you can score a lot of points. They have to pass. That's all I got, guys.
What are we trying to figure out?
So I'm saying we need to go get like elite talent now. I was excited when we had the idea of going to get a Myles Garrett. I'm just giving an example of elite talent. Mm-hmm. It's always just Josh Allen. Now we have maybe James Cook, but if you take Josh Allen out of the game, schematically, some way, what do you have?
Well, that's not nothing different than for the last 5 years, though. That's been true the whole time.
That's the problem.
That's the same thing of all the top quarterback teams, isn't it? Isn't that the Baltimore point? Isn't that Kansas City? Isn't that Cincinnati? Isn't that all of them? Isn't that Dallas? Like,
no.
Which of these teams is like the same level of good without their star quarterback? None of them.
Even with the superstar players around him, like Cincinnati has.
Like if my logic here is I can't live without Josh Allen, and I trade a first-round pick for somebody that you would consider worth it, and then I lose Josh Allen, I'm still dead. Disagree? I don't know
I think
where CJ
I
went.
think CJ's gone. Listen, I'm all for between now and Election Day, because that is also the day coinciding with the trade deadline in the NFL, exploring all avenues and options. It is right to point out that when they stumbled early last year, that they did pivot pretty quickly to we need another guy. And I don't know if because they did that last year, that makes it less likely that they'll do it, because to me, the same need is still there. I just don't know that they'll try to scratch that itch. I can't know what sort of conclusions, if any, were reached during this bye week where they're doing all this self-scouting and analysis, looking at, what is working, what is not working, what we need, what we don't need, that kind of thing. But I would still prioritize another skill player if I could get my hands on one. I think the need is it's as great as it was last year, I think, and if not more so now, because it's just another year. Like everyone's another year older. Josh Allen's another year older. If not now, when? And I do like the caller's point about the conference. 2 weeks ago, it was, how easy is it going to be to just cruise to the number 1 seed? And now we're put your brass knuckles on, because you're in a fight for the division, let alone the conference.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go for it. If the Bills, it's been a while since they've won a game, but I still look at this season as one where you're trying to win a championship. So I do want to do that. I just want to make sure my logic makes sense. And whatever else we think is wrong with them or mistakes that they've made, I'm not sure any of that matters. It's really just, is there a move I can make? Can I flip a draft pick for somebody that will, seriously give me a better chance to win? We always talk about wide receiver for this, and the dilemma I have about receiver is what's been said and documented about the general manager's attitude about wide receiver. Like, are we sure he would be like, okay, now it's all right. Now we need this. I don't know. They've had injuries. So it's sort of like picking up on last week's conversations. I'm not expecting them to want to do that. And plus, last year's trade didn't really work. They spent a day 2 draft pick on Cooper, and they didn't get very much. So maybe they could do better than him. It's possible. I wouldn't be against it. I think this is what you do in the championship window, and they're in it. There's no saying they're really not in it just because a couple of other things have happened here. I would not dispute thinking that like the time is now or the time is the next 2 weeks to make a move.
It's as urgent as it's ever been.
Yeah, maybe.
For with as good a reasons as there've ever been, I think.
Yeah. And they can afford it. They'll figure it out with the cap if they end up doing something like this. The draft picks, I think that's a decision you can make, is to try to spend a 1 on somebody that can make a difference. But really, who is that and what position would they play? Is it only wide receiver? You talk about defensive back, which is also a trade that they've made with Douglas going back 2 years ago. And that went okay, but they still lost. It's tough with football. It's really a fine line, I think. Who's available? Will they make a difference? And at the price, are we sure that it's worth it? The appearances wise, it looks great. It sort of seems like everybody would most everybody would be on board with it. But I don't think there are very many players that fit the mold. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR. Welcome back. We'll talk to Matt Verram coming up at the top of the hour. The Chiefs roll over the Raiders, and they look great. Not the Raiders. 30 plays, and they never got to the 20-yard line. Even if your Chiefs' fears are warranted, at least can't I get, a couple of first downs against them normally?
Right.
Maybe even a point? Not the Raiders.
No.
Here's Pete with us. Hi, Pete.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
First thing, I think Keon Coleman kind of reminds me of Rousseau and Brown as a prospect. But I still don't really understand why Dean decided to go for his type of receiver when Allen has proven to be successful with, the Diggs, Beasleys, Browns of the world. And I believe the Bills had the opportunity to take either Pearsall or Mataki in that draft, at least before they traded back. Those guys,
or Xavier Worthy.
Sorry.
But go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, or Worthy. I don't know if Worthy. He's got crazy speed, but I don't know if he's as skilled as a route runner as McConkey and Pearsall, which I think were their strengths coming into the draft. So I don't know why he decided to do that. Again, I'm optimistic about Coleman, but I still think the decision was questionable. And then a question that I have for you guys after seeing or kind of tracking what's going on with Marvin Harrison in Arizona. He hasn't really performed all that well. I personally think it's because Murray's not that good of a quarterback. But do you think there is a world where they would trade Harrison? And if so, what do you think they would need coming back to trade away that kind of prospect who hasn't performed, I guess, as expected over, I don't know what it is, 25 games or so?
I think it would be incredible if they made him available, because even with quarterbacks, it's like, especially with quarterbacks, it's like this. You drafted him in 2024. He's not injured. If he's injured, that's a different challenge you have. I just think it'd be an insanely bad look to trade a player that you picked in the top 5 last year because maybe your quarterback isn't good. He's the last guy I think you would, unless there's something more that we don't know about. And if he were traded, this is what everybody would ask.
Right.
What did he say?
Right.
Well, how bad could he have been to them for them to get rid of him already?
Is he sleeping through meetings? Is he is there a disciplinary problem, a maturity issue, whatever it is? I think all of that stuff would come to those questions would come to the forefront. There doesn't have to be anything there. It might just be that there's not a good fit there. I can't fathom a world where you would trade him this early. It's 7 weeks into his second season. He's under team control for 2 more years plus a 5th-year option. I just can't fathom a player that with that pedigree and the talent that is thought to be there, not waiting to see if you can't bring it out some other way. As far as the choices that got made, I don't know. I loved Worthy as a prospect. Maybe you didn't. You liked those other guys more. I thought maybe they were more repetitive what the Bills already had on the roster. Any of them would have been a better idea than what Keon Coleman has looked like so far. Speaking of disciplinary issues and that's happened again this year. It happened last year, and I don't know. It's not going well. It's part of the reason why it's part of the new, it's really a key element of the new information you get once the games start. My team's on the floor, says Brandon Beane after the draft, right? I've signed Josh Palmer. I've got Keon Coleman going into year 2. Well, you just sit back and watch my wide receivers play. Well,
we are.
A month and a half into the season, how's it going? Is it working? Can you count on him? If your answer is, then you should be in the market for someone who's better. Because you're trying to win the Super Bowl. You don't got time for,
No, I never have time for that. I know that. Allen wanted Coleman, right? Isn't that why they picked Coleman?
I don't know. He's going to say he wants anybody they pick.
He doesn't have to make up a story about how Allen texted him about this player or send him a video or something. He's not going to make up a story. He's going to say, he's not going to say the opposite, right? That's our game. He's not going to say the opposite, but he wanted you to know that Allen was on board. And then this year, he was different about this because 2 years in a row, he was right out there with Allen wanted this player. And then this year's like, well, it's not like he drafts the team. But Bean has said how he sends him 100 mock drafts or something like this. I mean, is that even believable? He said sending 100 mock drafts?
That whole thing is just an eye roll to me.
Okay. Do they draft a player that Allen has said to Bean he doesn't like? No. But to what level is the back and forth going between them before the draft? I don't know. Coleman was not everybody's favorite as an idea.
No.
And then especially when Bean said how he was going to play outside for them. Because there were plenty of analysts who thought he was better suited inside, but the Bills didn't need inside because they had Khalil Shakir, who has since gotten a big contract extension and is fine. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll be right back. This is WGR.
The Buffalo Bills are off the bye, and they'll get back to work later on this week as they will get ready to travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. And some big news right out of the gate for that game. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young expected to be out as he deals with a high ankle sprain, but head coach Dave Canales did not confirm any of this earlier today with the media. However, if it does prove to be true, Andy Dalton would be the team's starting quarterback. And then some big injury news for the Chiefs. Second-round rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman-Lott is out for this year with a torn ACL, and Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson still a non-participant at practice as he deals with a hamstring injury. Tonight, though, we have a Monday night doubleheader. It starts at 7. Lions host the Tampa Bay Bucks. Then at 10, the Texans are out in Seattle versus the Seahawks. Both those games will be over on our sister station starting at 6, the Bet 1520. And that is because it is Sabres game night over in Montreal. Pregame at 6:30 for a 7:30 puck drop right here on WGR. The Sabres have won 2 in a row, and then in net tonight, Alex Lyon gets the nod again. Beck Malenstein is out. That is due to a personal reason, and while it is not official, all signs are pointing to defenseman Zach Metsa making his debut tonight. 27-year-old did play 69 regular season games last year for Rochester. He also added on 8 playoff games as well. A light night, though, overall in the NHL. Just 4 other games. 2 at 7. Rangers hosting the Wild and the Kraken in Philly versus the Flyers. 9:30 sees the Calgary Flames hosting the Jets. And at 10, Carolina's in Las Vegas to play the Golden Knights. And in baseball, it is for all the marbles tonight. Game 7 of the ALCS. The winner is going to take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber, George Kirby are your pitchers on the bump tonight. First pitch just after 8 o'clock. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think Michael's ever done drugs.
It's Mike Schopp.
I don't know if anyone's ever offered him any.
Let's go over some of the symptoms of marijuana use, shall we? You tell me who this sounds like.
It's the Bulldog.
Slow moving, inattentive, dull, constantly snacking, shows a lack of motivation.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Word, at least as of an hour ago, of trouble with the tickets in Toronto for tonight. Some apparently fairly widespread internet breakdowns today.
Yeah, there's been some stuff. Yeah. So I saw a tweet from Ticketmaster and/or the Blue Jays, like, we're working through it. Please be patient.
Oh, I would not be patient.
No,
I had a ticket to this game, and
dude, I
would not be patient.
I had Red Sox Marlins tickets in my wallet for 2 months.
Your e-wallet,
my e-wallet, right? For 2 months, and I'd go look at them every, once a week or so. Like, barcode will appear at a later date, it said. Right, so the ticket was there, but it was not going to get me into the ballpark. And it wasn't until 24 or 36 hours before the game that the barcode appeared. How much stress do you think I had about that barcode?
How would you feel right now if the game's in 4 hours?
Right.
It's Game 7 of the ALCS.
Right.
I could not get into the Bills game against New England without transferring my parking pass and tickets to my son's phone because he has a wallet. He has an e-wallet. I do not have that, as far as I know. I don't use an e-wallet. So every time I would open the Bills app, it would crash. Like, it probably was 100 times. And I was way ahead of it. I mean, the morning of, it's a night game. I was way ahead of it. I want to know now that I'm good.
Yeah.
I was not good.
You were not good. No.
I mean, time after time after time, it would just crash. And I'm like, I got to take this to the authority, my teenage son.
Right.
And
Exactly.
he sat next to me, and he's like, and this was I almost cried when he said it. Dad, you're right. I was right. It wasn't technology's fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the apps. The Bills app would just crash,
acting weird,
all the time.
Right.
And so what I did was send the tickets to him, and then he had pictures, and he didn't even you don't even need to scan a code anymore if you've got what he has. You just sort of hold the phone up to the scanner and you're in.
Yeah.
Without it, I don't know. I go home.
Yeah, I guess so.
Matt Verram with us. Hope you enjoyed our stories, Matt. Matt's with us on the West Her Hotline.
Old guys complaining about technology.
I mean, if you're wondering, it gets way worse than this in here.
I get it. I have had to help my dad get into defense over the years, and there's a lot of screaming and foul language on both ends of that every time it happens. So I totally empathize.
So I'm 53. When I was a season ticket holder of the Sabres, that started in 2005, so 20 years ago. And I would, we talk to people on the air, be like, can't they just do the paper tickets? And the Sabres would make that an option, but I would think to myself, really? You need the paper tickets. Can't you just figure out how to use your phone?
Yeah.
Now, here I am.
Fast forward 20 years later,
Right.
You need the paper tickets.
It's way worse now. It is way more complicated now, I think.
It used to be a lot more satisfying. I mean, I'm 37, but I'm kind of an old soul, and I miss going to a game with an actual physical ticket.
Yeah.
And then you got to keep the stub. Like when I was a kid, I'm a Devils fan. I grew up a New Jersey Devils fan, and we used to go to the games in the Meadowlands. I probably still to this day have about 95% of ticket stubs that I want. And I look at them every once a year or once every other year. And I remember that. Yeah, Brodeur shut out Boston that night or whatever. I was 9. It brings back a memory. Now it's just a barcode on your phone.
You have to have the physical ticket to have that memory. Because without it, you'd never even, how would you think of it? That's right. All right, Matt. Well, here we are in Buffalo. It's 2 straight losses and a bye week. It's been a while, I would say, since most fans have felt really good about them. Could you still feel really good? I mean, it is 2 losses, but they've done this kind of thing before. I guess it is somewhat a function of what the rest of the conference looks like. How do you feel about where the Bills stand at this point?
I still think they're going to be right where they always are in the divisional round or further. Look, I understand why Bills fans feel the way they do. It's completely justified to look at the Bills through their first 6 games and say, I'm worried about the defense, and I'm worried about Josh Allen having to do everything offensively when they're not handing the ball off to Cook. I get it, and I think there's valid parts of that. I think the reason it's so disconcerting if you're a Bills fan is probably because you feel like you're watching the same team over and over year after year where it's just safety play is not good, pass rush is spotty, Allen is forced to do everything offensively at times. But I'd also argue that those teams have also been a whisper away from the Super Bowl a lot of years. So, I saw somebody say today in a prominent role that, the biggest threats to the Chiefs in the AFC are the Colts and the Patriots, and that's ridiculous. That's just not accurate. The Bills are the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC, have been for 5 years and continue to be.
And the Chiefs have very much so righted the ship. You could kind of maybe see this coming, getting guys back. Worthy was out. He's back. That coincides with their offense opening back up. And now Rice is back, 2 touchdowns yesterday. And we're looking more like a Mahomes MVP caliber year here again for the first time in a few years, Matt.
Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't had weapons. Look, in 2022, he threw for 5,200 yards, and they won the Super Bowl. He was the MVP for the second time in his career. And then they went into 2023, and they drafted Rashee Rice, who's a rookie that year, and they went into that year thinking Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, and Marcus Valdes-Scantling were going to be their big 3. And predictably, that was a tire fire. And then they did just enough with Rice, and they still had Kelsey, and that was enough with a top 2 defense to win the Super Bowl. And then last year, Rice got hurt, and Worthy was a rookie, and Hollywood got hurt. And it was a disaster. And now this year, they finally have all these guys, and the result has been insane over the last 4 weeks. I mean, I went back and charted over the last 4 weeks, their offense, if you exclude drives where they just knelt down, they have had 30 drives in the last 4 games, and their offensive starters have been on the field. They've scored in 21 of those drives. They don't punt. They never punt the ball anymore. And I think, though, the underrated thing of this, it's really, we talk about the weapons, it's their offensive line. Their offensive line the last couple of years has been really, really questionable, especially at tackle. And this year, that's just not the case. Before Josh Simmons left the team for personal reasons, he was playing great. Now they have Jalen Moore. He's been fantastic. Kingsley Suamataia was a disaster at guard as a rookie last year, at tackle last year. He's been great as a left guard for them. And so that's been the biggest difference. Mahomes is just never pressured. And if he's not pressured and he has 3 seconds, he's going to do what he or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow do. He's going to slice you up.
Chiefs are here in Week 9. It's coming up. Week 8, Bills at Carolina. Kansas City hosts a perhaps Jaden Daniels-less Washington team. That's only a perhaps after what was said today. It's not a given that he'll miss.
Right.
But Chiefs a 10-point favorite. Bills an 8-point favorite in Carolina, and then they'll meet in Orchard Park in Week 9. You know, it's interesting as a talk show host here, Matt, with the Bills. Like, again, for the entirety of the offseason and going into the season, it really is like we talk and talk and talk, but then we kind of all know it's going to be about what happens in January, and that can be one play that makes that determines whether this was all good or not, you know? And I kind of want to, you've already said it, so I apologize, but I kind of want to think about this team. I want to think it, and then, you know, it's going to help me to think it, is that's where we're at here. But they're not perfect, you know, like the wide receiver point that gets made. You mentioned the secondary defense. The defense of the Bills does not have the name brands, or at least if they do, they're older in this unit than we're used to.
I think this entire thing, and by this whole thing, I mean the AFC, is going to come down to if the Bills play the Chiefs in January, which I expect those two teams to meet, wherever the game is. That game's coming down to one thing. Can Buffalo hit Mahomes? If they can, they've got a real shot to win. And if they can't, they're going home. That's it. Like that has been the story, to me at least, in all these games they've played over the years. The Bills have not been able – Ed Oliver's been invisible in those games. Greg Rousseau has largely been invisible in those games. And if that's the case, like, it's just over. Like, I've watched the Chiefs my entire life. And I've watched every Mahomes game at least once, in a lot of cases twice. And I can tell you, the only time they lose is when he gets just relentlessly hit. The Eagles Super Bowl the second time around, the Bucs Super Bowl. The only time that wasn't true was in the game they lost to Cincinnati in the playoffs in 2021, where Anarumo dropped 8 guys and basically said, please throw it into double coverage all over the field, and the Chiefs just refused to run. And they lost it overtime. That is the only time they've lost a game in a big spot where it's not been because of the pass rush. And I just think, again, like the Bills, look, they're going to score their points. I know they don't have the top-tier weapon you'd love to have on the outside. Allen and Cook and that line, Shakir, they're going to score. The big question for me in those games is, can the Bills, with 4 guys, get home? And if they can do it, they can win. That's true in Week 9. That's true in January. If they can't do it, the Chiefs are going to do what they do to everybody. They're going to go 4 and 5 wide. They're going to spread the field, and they're going to say, cover them. Do it. And it's very difficult. It's a hard thing to do against that team.
Matt, what do you make of the newcomers, if you will, to the top of the standings here, at least as of now? New England is ahead of the Bills in the AFC East, and the Colts are ahead of everyone in the conference. Any way you'd like to talk about both of those teams, whether you're buying that they are contenders of this caliber?
I thought New England was a playoff team going into the year. I had them, I think it was my 7th seed on our SI picks. Look, May has been awesome. And Vrabel, we knew was going to be good coming in. He's been a very good coach. Not surprisingly, that's held true. My concern about New England in a playoff game is I just think if you can kind of tamp down Diggs in that game, I don't know what they're going to do. Like Booty's a good player. Hunter Henry's fine. But, we all know this. I mean, the Bills have been in a million playoff games the last handful of years. Like, when you get into the playoffs, it's largely about who your best guys are and just how well can you stack up. Now, May, to his credit, has played very well, but can he survive in a game where, hey, you know what, they're going to double Diggs every play, and everything's going to be about you running the ball to Ramondre Stevenson and playing defense and hoping that's enough. Like, I think they're a genuinely good team. I think they could win a playoff game. I don't think they're going to Buffalo winning a game. I don't think they're going to Kansas City winning a game. Indianapolis, to be fair, is a very interesting team in the sense that you'll look at them and everybody has the exact same knee-jerk reaction. It's Daniel Jones. Like, that's the reaction. And it's just like that team can't win. They have Daniel Jones. And maybe that's true. Like, maybe he turns into a pumpkin in the second half of the season, right? Maybe there's more and more film and teams just start to realize, like, okay, there's a blueprint, there's a way to beat this guy, and that's it. They are scoring at an outrageous clip. And I know a lot of these teams they've played are bad. I get it. The Chargers are at least a good team, they annihilated the Chargers in that game. They just did whatever they wanted to do. I think the key is slowing down Taylor and basically turning them into a passing team. But, look, give them credit. Again, I still – if you made me bet my mortgage, I'd still take Buffalo or Kansas City all day, every day in a playoff game over either of those two teams. But you've got to give the Colts a lot of credit. They're not just winning. They're winning by huge margins, and that's the sign of a really good team.
They do have some interesting weapons, too. I like Downs, but he missed yesterday with a concussion. Still, Michael Pittman is pretty reliable. And Tyler Warren is the next – actually, he's not the only one. Yeah, the next rookie tight end to beat to beat history, right? Because rookie tight ends are not supposed to be able to do anything, but we've had a couple in recent years. I say what I say because Oronde Gadsden, Bulldog, out of Syracuse, put up a huge game. With Matt Verram, SI Now, also the Kansas City Sports Network, and other sites. We've had Matt on many times. How about the NFC? For a while here, we've had that the AFC has been top tier, and, somebody comes out of the NFC. I don't know if you would have put it that way. I mean, the Eagles did win it last year. San Francisco's been twice. And now we've got Detroit. Green Bay has one loss. Tampa Bay, which plays tonight, has one loss. Maybe the Rams, maybe even Seattle. What's for you the balance of power between the conferences at this stage?
I think if you said to me right now who's coming out of the NFC, look, my preseason NFC title game was the Rams and the Bucs, and I'm sticking with it. Those are the two best teams. And now Philadelphia, you have to respect them. You can't just sit there and say that, hey, they're done. They're 5-2. They're the defending champions. The thing that scares me about Philadelphia is they're just not playing a complete 60 minutes. And when you watch them, it's kind of hard to put your finger on what's wrong with them. But now part of it's Barkley's just not been any good, and that's obviously a huge part of this whole deal. But yeah, I feel like they're missing a gear that I don't know that they can get to this season with all the guys they lost off of last year's team. The Rams should, honest to God, be 7-0. They just can't kick a field goal. Like, if the Rams could kick a field goal, they'd be 7-0, but they gave away 2 games. I like the Rams. You worry about Stafford staying healthy all year, and you worry about if you can block them, that secondary is not great. But I do like them. And, of course, they've been able to win a championship recently. And then Tampa, look, I got to give it to Tampa. You're talking about a team. Evans has been hurt. McMillan's been hurt. Godwin's been hurt. Ibuka's been hurt. He's been awesome when he's been healthy. Irving has been hurt. Wirfs has been hurt. They're 5-1. Like, I don't know how they're doing what they're doing because offensively they're okay, but they're not great. But Tampa is a really underrated team. And I look at Detroit and say, if everything's clicking, I will love what Detroit can do, but the defense still worries me a little bit. And we kind of saw it against Kansas City. If you can make them just drop back and throw the ball, they're not great. Goff without a great running game, not terrifying. And that's kind of the problem. I believe in Mayfield. I believe in Stafford more than I believe in Goff.
By the way, do you have a take on whether you think Ibuka plays tonight? You think that's for show, or you think you could actually play?
I think it's probably a long shot, but the hamstring's weird. Sometimes you can get that thing loose and it's all right, but it feels like going into this week they really didn't think he was going to play, and now all of a sudden he's quickly gotten one. They had the extra day. Sometimes those things can change. Yep. I would tend to think it's probably more of a long shot.
All right. How about Baltimore at this point, Matt? You think it's over or what?
I mean, I kind of went into this week against Chicago thinking, look, if Lamar comes back, you look at their schedule, it's not impossible, right? Like, they play the Browns again. They play whatever the hell's left of the Dolphins. They play the Jets. They play Cincinnati. In fact, I believe they play Cincinnati twice. They play Pittsburgh twice. I know Pittsburgh's 4-2. I don't think there's a soul alive that looks at Pittsburgh and thinks that team's really good. So, like, there's a path there. But now Jackson is still not practicing as of today. He's still out of practice. If they don't win this week against Chicago, I think they're done. I don't think – look, 1-5 is really hard to come back from, but looking at this conference, you might be able to get in 9-8, 10-7. I can definitely get you in. You lose this game, it's just it's already uphill, obviously. But at 1-6, you almost have to run the table. Like, you maybe can lose a game. It's just – I think that'd be it. So they need to beat Chicago in the worst way. And if Jackson's not there, I don't think they're going to do it.
All right, Matt. Bulldog, anything?
I wanted to ask you about Atlanta last night because we got an eyeful of the Falcons, obviously, here last Monday night, Matt, and seemingly, at least in the first half, able to do whatever they wanted on offense. And we get to, I know it's week to week and matchups and everything. Here's San Francisco all banged up on defense, and Atlanta looked relatively clueless last night.
Atlanta, to me, is like the NFC's answer to Jacksonville, where you look at them, and 1 week they play in a way you're like, wow, that team, okay, not a Super Bowl team, but like interesting, can make the playoffs, like maybe win. And then you watch them other weeks, and it's like they're learning the sport of football in real time.
Right.
Atlanta last night, you watch Bijan against the Bills, and he looks like Barry Sanders in his prime. And then you watch the game last night against the Niners team that, like, literally Chris Collinsworth during the game was like, this guy's replacing Fred Warner, and we don't know who this guy is. And, like, he's out there like making 10 tackles. And you just wonder in a game, like, how does Atlanta not run the ball? Like how can they not effectively run out? Give Robert Saleh credit. I think Atlanta is just like I said, they kind of remind me of the Jags in a way, like 9-8, 8-9, right? You know, they're going to be one of those teams in Week 18 that, like, they need to win, and like two other things have to happen for them to make the playoffs. Like, I feel like that's who Atlanta is. Really high variance.
Makes sense. Thanks for your time today, and always, Matt. Anything you want to promote?
Just check out outside.com. Got a bunch of pieces got every week. Friday preview file for the best teams of the week. The Bills will be in there this week. And then the good, the bad, and the ugly on Sunday, where just in real time you're kind of getting a stream of consciousness, what's going on around the league, what it means moving forward. So check it out, SI.com, my Twitter feed. It's all there.
I need that sometimes because I tend to lose my mind on Sundays and overreact to everything. So this could probably be useful to me. Thank you, Matt, once again.
You got it. No problem.
Matt Verram, SI, now KC Sports Network. The Bills and Panthers from Charlotte on Sunday. Are we all going? It's another one of those where we're all there. Every Bills fan in your life is at this game.
I wish we were going. I wish the figurative we are going. We are. You and I are not.
No, I'm not going.
I would like. Yeah. I got through a whole weekend with no golf, and I know people who are going who are golfing on the weekend, and it just sounds really, really, really
in
nice.
Charlotte.
Yes. Right.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. I didn't make any plans. And so
Josh Allen just got done playing his first ever game in Atlanta. Now he'll play his first game in Charlotte. That might be it then after that. You think?
He's not played at Levi's Stadium yet.
San Francisco, right? Because they played that game in Arizona.
That's where the Super Bowl is this year.
Yes, it is.
Just saying. I think he said the same thing. I think he said the same thing. Maybe in an interview leading up to last Monday's game. How that'll be the only stadium by the end of this year that he hasn't played in.
Is that the interview he did, the sit down with is it Marty Smith? You and I never talked about it. Golf, kind of a golf guy.
Yeah.
And the reporter asked Allen at the end of the interview a question about whether he'd feel fulfilled as a man if he never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Allen needed a lot of time to think about that answer. And because maybe the reporter referenced Rory McIlroy in the Masters.
And Scheffler's whole, like, what does this all mean kind of stuff from this summer, where it's like, I win, but, I don't know, afterward it doesn't feel that great.
Allen was, I think, like he does, only it usually doesn't take him very long, sort of processing, what do I want to say, and then how will this sound?
Right.
And he kind of, he ended up sort of in the middle, which I think is perfectly fine, just like, well, I hope so. But
right.
I'm all about winning a championship.
Right. I think he even said I want to say I'd be fine, basically, right, and not have like this aching void in my life. But it sounded like to me he didn't know that he could say that, even though you'd want to, like, yeah, I'll know I did my best and not have anything lingering, but he didn't want to put his name entirely on that. I don't think.
No, and the thing about that is, he can't be expected to know how he'll feel in 10 years like that. How could you know? It was an interesting interview, I thought, though. I liked it. 803-0550 for your calls. What about Bulldog brings up the Falcons? How do you like that the Falcons showed up last night and couldn't do anything? That had to feel good.
I didn't like it at all.
No.
It kind of made me mad.
Talk some more AFC East as well. Takeaways from Week 7. Panthers in Week 8. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
The Buffalo Bills are off the bye, and they'll get back to work later this week. They're getting ready to travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. And the big news right out of the gate for that game, Panthers quarterback Bryce Young expected to be out as he deals with a high ankle sprain. However, head coach Dave Canales did not confirm this with the media earlier today, but if it does prove to be true, Andy Dalton is in line to be the team's starting quarterback. We'll wrap up, though, this week of NFL football with a Monday night doubleheader. It starts at 7. Lions hosting the Tampa Bay Bucks. Then at 10, the Texans are out in Seattle versus the Seahawks. Both those games are going to be over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, starting at 6. And that is because it is Sabres game night in Montreal. Pregame at 6:30 for a 7:30 puck drop right here on WGR. Sabres have won 2 in a row in net tonight. Alex Lyon gets the nod again. Beck Malenstein out tonight due to a personal reason, and while it is not official, all signs point to defenseman Zach Metza making his debut tonight. Just 4 other games, though, in the NHL. 2 at 7. Rangers host the Wild, and the Kraken are in Philly versus the Flyers. 9:30 sees the Calgary Flames hosting the Jets. Then at 10, Carolina is in Vegas as they will play the Golden Knights. And then in baseball, it's for all the marbles tonight. Game 7 of the ALCS. The winner will take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber and George Kirby, your pitchers on the bump tonight. And then first pitch is going to be just after 8 o'clock. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Warranted. I mean, we all have our different opinions. I think I was through 11, 12 passes in the first half. I had 40-something yards, 46 yards, 50 yards. So, like I said, it's not my decision. I'm here to be the best teammate I can be. I'm here to be the best person I can be.
Justin Fields.
Wow.
I don't know anymore.
0-7, New York Jets.
0-7. They're on to Cincinnati, though.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Tyrod Taylor throw 2 interceptions in a game before. But he did yesterday in partial time.
You've never really watched him play extensively for the New York Jets before, though, have you?
No, I guess that explains it. Man, the AFC East. Would you have taken this? I don't think I would have for the Bills. That 2 teams are in shambles. They might as well make the move on Mike McDaniel now, but they haven't. I mean, he and Tua are just going to press on, I guess. I don't know what the point is anymore.
I don't either. I mean, they've got games to play, and they're not, they could make a change. They can make any change they wanted. I don't know. They're hopeful there's going to be some signs of life. I don't know. I read my first breakdown of getting out of Tua's contract today. We're there. So
it's not pretty.
No, it's not
easy.
But they can divide it up if they wait post June 1st this offseason. Anyway, it's going to be ugly. So yeah, and yeah, I mean, obviously, no surprise that the Dolphins and Jets are in shambles. I don't know that I would have expected only 1 win between the 2 of them this far into the season, but that is where we are. Miami's 1-6, and the Jets are 0-7. New England being ahead of the Bills is the surprise that they're that good. Although, if you were listening to us, we talked about the schedule a lot, but, I certainly didn't ever hear you say it, and I know I never said it, that I thought New England was going to, would be ahead of the Bills 2 months into the season or something. There's no way. But, here we are. But the Jets and Dolphins, I don't know, would I have taken it? Yeah, I expected it. I thought they'd both be in shambles.
Well, with New England, I think I would have said, if they can win the game here, they might be in great shape, because that would tell you they're good enough to do it.
Right.
And that's what it is. I still think I've got them right, though. Even yesterday, they didn't cruise yesterday. Eventually they did, and Tennessee laid down. But it wasn't like they were just much the better team right away. I think that's the Patriots. Sal said it with us last week about them. Maybe this is just the consensus, how you've got a team there that's good enough to beat you, and might end up winning more games than losing. But they're probably not good enough to just beat anybody. I would not bet the Patriots to win big in the playoffs. but I have already bet them to make it. And I think what I'm seeing there is pretty much what I thought. I thought the Jets would be a little better than this, but not good. Miami, this was what was disconcerting about it is that pretty much it was unanimous that Miami would be bad, and they're bad.
Yeah.
Because usually, if we're all on the same page, we're probably going to be wrong, it seems. But we have not been wrong.
Not about that.
On the Dolphins.
Anyway, right.
So New England is, I mean, you used the word about another team recently, and you weren't sure if it applied, plucky.
I called somebody plucky?
Well, you did, and then you said, I'm not sure this is plucky.
Oh,
Who was it we were talking about?
I don't remember now. I don't recall.
Maybe it was the Patriots. I don't think it was.
Maybe, I don't know. You're right about this game yesterday. I mean, I kept up with it well enough in that window, but yeah, it was 13-10, Tennessee in the lead, second quarter, late touchdown, make it 17-13, and then, it's a fumble return accounts for the final score. So, it's not like they just smoked them.
Here, I'll share this with you about the Patriots, and I'd love any feedback on it. So my guys from the island who are texting about the Bills and Sabres literally every day, all the time. Usually it's about how terrible everything is, so I stay out of it. But I was intrigued by one take this morning, and it does come from that same everything is terrible roots. Roots. But the point was, wouldn't you rather be the Patriots going forward? Or say, starting next year, wouldn't you rather be New England? This is coming from a fan who's very negative about the Bills roster and coaching and like this. Allen is the only good thing they have, that kind of fan.
Uh-huh.
Like, wouldn't you rather be the Patriots? And I thought about it, and I responded by saying, well, May is 6.5 years younger. So I've got the rookie window here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got that luxury. And I'm off to a good start. This is year 2. I've got a serious coach. I think somebody could believe in them if you wanted to go somewhere to win. Maybe more easily than you would have bought into this when Allen was younger.
I think they are going to be a real problem, and maybe they'll even be a real problem this year. I'm still not going to rush to that, but I think they're going to be a real problem.
The thing I would say ultimately is that from the Bills' standpoint, I maybe really have to win it right now. Not that the window would be closed because Josh Allen is 30, but New England could be right up there with them.
Sure.
Maybe they even already are, maybe. And if I'm that with cap space and not some of the baggage the Bills have on their roster and some of the decisions that have already been made and how they've really they don't look great in the draft in the last few years overall, that, again, I'll use baggage again. Maybe New England is a team that won't have that. And, if the Bills win it this year, I don't even care what happens in the future. I really don't even care right now. just let's get one and then go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But if you don't get the one, and especially, well, it could be the Patriots, but especially if somebody else gets there in front of you, like the Bengals have threatened to do. Maybe it won't be Baltimore. Maybe it would be Indianapolis. If somebody else then beats you to the spot,
right,
and it's not Kansas City, but it's also not you, and we go into next year, and here's Drake May at 24 with this or that new piece, I don't think that'll feel great. I think we might think at that point that you're back in a reality where we have to see what happens this year, but you've got somebody in the division that's at least what you are.
Yeah. The beauty, if that's the right, even the word I want, of that question, would you rather be them right now? Is of course it's premature. But if you're trying to make a call now, you're prognosticating, is this guy going to end up being as good or better than Allen? Because that to me is the crux of the question right now. Because the rest of it, sure, I understand why you should feel good about Mike Vrabel as your head coach and trust that he's a real serious tomato ketchup coach and is going to put together a program there. But as it's all promise right now, still. It's just so early. He won a big game here at night. One. There's going to be a lot more of those, especially if, you have this year they win 10 games or more, maybe 11. I don't know. To me, I wouldn't expect them to win 12, but they could. They're going to have 5 night games next year. Like they'll be right back to, the usual Patriot status, all over prime time. And so I need to see more in big spots, playoffs. I mean, there's just a lot that Drake May has not done yet that I don't want to say he already is Allen's equal. It's not, to me, that's preposterous. So there's a lot to still happen for me to want to get to, but I'd rather be them. But right now, the rest of it, they've got the cap room. They've got a coach that I think is going to put together a program that is to be respected. And if the overall point you said within here somewhere is, there's new people coming. Like we were waiting for, like Allen showed up and got good when he did. Mahomes was already established. Here comes Burrow. Here comes Lamar Jackson all at the same time. And then we were sort of, now Russell Wilson is in the AFC West and Justin Herbert. And we're sort of forcing all these guys into this funnel, right? Trevor Lawrence, Tua, like, oh my God, look at all these incredible quarterbacks. And it's still mostly just the group that was there at the beginning. But now maybe that's happening. Now here comes Drake May, right? And that is to be respected. Now Daniel Jones looks like he looks competent, and more than that, he looks great is what he looks. So there's always going to be new blood. And if some of it is top shelf, then yeah, you got to worry. Like you've missed an opportunity here where the group was more finite. And right now it's open right now for May to carve out a space up at the top, I think, if he has a back half of the season, like the front third of the season he's had already, he's going to be in that conversation. I mean, he makes every throw.
He could win the MVP.
Sure he could.
This year, I think. The schedule is so soft. Cleveland and then Atlanta. Those are their next 2 games, both at Foxborough, the Browns and then the Falcons. But don't worry, they've got the Jets twice.
Mm-hmm.
803-0550, Bills and Patriots. New England now atop the AFC East at 5-2. We'll look for your calls again when we return. The Sabres are in Montreal. 6:30 pregame tonight here on WGR. Enter at WGR550.com for a chance to win a home heating system, courtesy of T-Mark Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Whether your home needs a furnace, boiler, or ductless heat pump, T-Mark's got you covered. The last day to enter is October 26th, 2025. Oh, that's Sunday.
I was really rooting for you that time. Good job.
I do know to stop in front of it now. You know who Joshua Molina is? Actor.
I know the name, sure.
Sports Night. He was in short-lived but critically acclaimed show. West Wing. Been in lots of shows. I listened to my favorite show ever is The West Wing, and he and a co-host they did. It's over now, but they did a podcast on every episode. And in the process of that, they would introduce the episode by telling you when it aired. And for as accomplished of an actor as he is, he couldn't say the word February smoothly. So then he just gave up, and he started calling it the second month.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't know how to redefine ductless heat pump. And I know not to even try because it's ad copy.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to mess around with that. Yeah.
But I would.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to redefine that if I could. Yeah. Just call it something else.
I would challenge. No, I don't really want to do this. There is a word in copy that I read all the time that I have a very hard time with. There's one word that trips me up every single time I read the spot.
Is it profit boost?
No, it is not profit boost. I don't have any. I mean, I stumble with simple things too. But
that's two words.
There's a word that's in ad copy that every time it feels like a roadblock as I'm approaching it.
You got to get it in your contract next time.
Because I think
ever have to say
I'm not going to be able to say this cleanly, and then I get through it and it's passable, but I don't feel good about it.
Is it, one of mine is the word regularly. Is that it?
That is not it.
That I have to go really slow.
Yeah.
Like I just did.
I would say the word, but I don't think I can say it cleanly.
Okay. You don't mean like you'd have to get bleeped?
No. I just don't. I don't want to try to say it now because it's not hidden within the copy, and I just wonder if anybody has ever, folks.
Something to listen.
Listen closely. I don't have a prize for you. Really, this is ridiculous.
Here's Chris next. Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
I'll try and keep my thoughts as linear as possible, and if I don't, I do apologize. Just growing up in Toronto, I'm 32 years old now, and just, seeing what the Leafs, we win around in the playoffs, we want to have a parade down Yonge Street. We take Florida to 7 games, and we want to act like we've accomplished something. And I feel like that's the same way with the Bills. And it's just like, you look at the Eagles, and they won the Super Bowl in 2017, and, they weren't good for a couple of years, and then Howie Roseman says it's not satisfactory, it's not good enough. Same thing with the Rams. And I think it's more so it's a mentality issue from top to bottom, that this organization seems to think it's okay making the playoffs every year and winning a divisional game every so often, going to a couple of championship games, but it's like, it's not satisfactory. We have to get out of that mindset that this is where we're having success.
Well, you're assuming a lot that is their mindset. I understand the correlation and why you would want to point this out, that it seems a little too similar to the hockey team in the town you're living in. But you're assuming that, like, the Bills as a franchise are not striving to get to the Super Bowl. They've made some choices that maybe are dubious along the way, but
this could only mean McDermott.
They're trying to win.
This could only mean McDermott.
You know that, right, Chris?
No, yeah, I understand that. No, I think McDermott has his flaws, but I think Brandon Beane is the bigger issue. Like, if you look at the teams that have won Super Bowls and the moves they've gone out and made, the Bills haven't made correlated moves. Doug Peterson wins Super Bowl? Nope, not good enough, fired. I understand that's a McDermott correlation. We're just talking about significant moves. Need A.J. Brown? Go get A.J. Brown. Rams? 2 first-rounders for Stafford? No problem. The Bills don't make these moves. And the Florida Marlins have made the playoffs 4 times in 30 years, won 2 World Series. I'd rather be that. I'd rather be, like, non-existent for 10 years and then win a Super Bowl. It's just like it's just the mentality based off the moves they made. You could correlate that they – obviously, everyone wants to win, but it's just like if they really want to win, I think there's some moves that need to happen. And maybe it's because the Sabres are the way they are that maybe Google is focusing on that. And
Chris, we got to go. We got to go. I'm sorry. It's the clock. I don't know how I could say that without the benefit of hindsight. Like these moves, this whole category of, quote, moves that the Bills chose not to make because they're complacent. They haven't made a lot of moves. They haven't made trades. I mean, the draft is the draft. You hope to get it right. But it's not like they just sit there. They're not the Sabres. The Sabres just sit there. The Sabres just only sit there. But the Bills have done a lot of things. Like, the team you're talking about is not bothering with Bosa, right? I mean, it's not even a huge move, or with Von Miller, which was. I don't know. I guess I need you to show me. Show me all these moves that they could have made, which is easy, right? Because other teams have made moves, and so you know that they were available. Let me see a list of things that by the Bills not making those moves means that they don't really care if they win big. That's what you're saying. I think you could only mean McDermott, but you said Bean. I guess you could also mean Bean. 803-0550, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Hey, it's Bulldog here letting you know that the FanDuel Sports
We won't hear from the Bills until a little bit later on this week around Wednesday, but we did get some news regarding them as multiple reports now and the NFL Transaction Wire have confirmed that the Bills have opened up rookie cornerback Maxwell Harrison's 21-day practice window. Harrison picked up an LCL injury earlier in training camp, so reinforcements may be on the way for the Bills as they get ready to take on the Carolina Panthers on the road this Sunday. The other big injury news for that game is that Panthers quarterback Bryce Young expected to be out as he deals with a high ankle sprain, though Panthers head coach Dave Canales did not confirm this earlier today with the media, saying the team will take it day by day. But if Young cannot go, Andy Dalton is expected to be the team's starting quarterback. We will wrap up, though, this week of NFL football with a Monday night doubleheader. It starts at 7. The Lions host the Tampa Bay Bucks, and according to multiple reports, rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is expected to be good to go for the Buccaneers. Then at 10 o'clock, it's the Texans. They're out in Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Both those games will be over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, starting at 6, and that is because it is Sabres game night. They are in Montreal, pregame at 6:30, a 7:30 puck drop right here on WGR. The Sabres have won 2 in a row in net tonight. Again, it is Alex Lyon getting the nod. Beck Mallenstein is out. That is due to a personal reason, and while it is not official, all signs are pointing to 27-year-old defenseman Zach Metza making his debut tonight. Around the NHL, though, it is a relatively light night, just 4 other games. 2 of them at 7. Rangers host the Wild and the Kraken are in Philly versus the Flyers. 9:30 sees the Calgary Flames hosting the Jets. And then at 10, Carolina is in Las Vegas. They are going to play the Golden Knights. While in baseball, it's for all the marbles tonight. Game 7 of the ALCS. Winner's going to take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber, George Kirby on the bump this evening. First pitch at around 8:10. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't love Junior Mints. I just don't hate them. I don't understand why they are treated like second-class candy.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Oh,
there's a
understand why a
name.
candy that is basically toothpaste wrapped up in stale chocolate is treated like a second-class candy. All right, I get it. It's a good, valid question.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Is there time to change? You know, the 3 teams I've drafted this year, second-class candy is pretty good.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I'd love to change one to ductless heat pumps if only I could say it. Just by luck, that team would win.
A couple of times in a row now, you've done all right.
I know, but I have to really have to concentrate.
Keep practicing.
Now, there's something, never mind. There's something about the sequence of sounds there that's problematic for me. 803-0550, here we go. Week 8, after tonight's games anyway, officially. The Bills and the Panthers in Charlotte, and it does look like it will be Andy Dalton for Carolina. And I think that that's probably good for Carolina. We have several of these in the NFL. We often do, where a team is trying to force it with their young guy that they've spent heavy draft capital on, and it's not really working. Bryce Young has had his moments, mostly in a short stretch of games late last season. This year, not as good. Early last year, disaster. And so at 4-3 with a live season, I'm thinking that there'd be some juice with this in the Panthers organization, or at least the locker room. Not that that makes Andy Dalton more than he is, but I think it's probably a tougher game now. Certainly could be debated. You know, I'm not sure I'm right. Maybe we'll find out. I guess we won't even know.
I think this gives you a better floor, and I just don't think the ceiling is as high with Young. But you know, however infrequent it is that he would hit it, maybe you would not expect him to hit it. But I don't know. There is a number 1 overall pick talent in there. So, but we do see Joe Flacco just happened. So the Bills could get Flacco'd by Dalton. Veteran guy, steely, whatever. He probably won't make maybe the mistakes you might count on Young making. But I don't know. It's Andy Dalton.
That's how you win, though.
Yeah.
I just don't think Bryce Young has been good enough for me to get there. But again, that doesn't mean Dalton is great. I just like Carolina's chances a little bit more with a quarterback that has been around for so long. He's played 6 games against the Bills, Dalton, but none in 6 years. The last Dalton start, anyway, against Buffalo was in 19, week 3. I think of this game for Dawson Knox with a big 49-yard catch. I looked up the number. Had a touchdown in the game. Bills got out 8-0. I remember sitting in the press box being so excited for 8-0 as opposed to 7. I don't know if there was a special reason why they went for 2, like an offside penalty or something, but, let's go. I love a team that's willing to get out 8-0 like that. Just super cool. And they won by 3, I think. Anyway, it was a close game. They were maybe 4.
That was still the Bengals?
That was the Bengals, right.
The Bengals.
Zach Taylor had just gotten there, and that's the last time they've seen Dalton. And that would be after the drought breaker. Like we were already we were talking about.
Sure, right. We already were pretty much in love with him now. Yeah, right.
By then. Yeah. Let's go to Thomas here. Hi, Thomas.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm wrapping up the workday and thinking about some Bills football. I got a few things. My first thing is, say they go to Carolina and they lose, right? What is it going to take for something to change on the coaching staff? Like, at what point in the season do we have a change? Okay, that's my first thing, and then I'll just read them off, and then I'll let you guys go. And then, second thing is, what's the end goal with this team? Is it to win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Because if it's to win a Super Bowl, sadly, I don't think you guys might disagree. I don't think McDermott's going to do it. Because I'm just looking at the stats and I'm thinking about plays and, games and scenarios. And I just, honestly, what I've seen in the 9 years, he doesn't have what it's going to take to win this thing. And honestly, on top of it, the roster this year, I personally don't think the roster. So he's going to get – that's where I'm like, Dad, do I give him one more year? And then I'm like, well, that's another year off, Josh. And then I'm like – yeah, I'm just discouraged because without an offensive coach, can this team win a Super Bowl without an offensive head coach with Josh Allen? And how long is it going to take to have a change at that head coach position? Okay, and I'm hitting panic mode here.
So do you want them to lose on Sunday so they would get closer to making a change? Do you want to put your name on that or no?
No, I never want to lose. I'm a true fan. I want to win every game. But I'm thinking
you're a true fan that just hates the coach. I got it. Okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah, you can hate the players and coaches even though you're a fan.
I know. I wasn't being pejorative about that at all. I was just clarifying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. I don't hate the coach. I don't hate the coach. I think he's done a tremendous job. Hate's too strong. He took a program that was really, really down. And he's done a great job of bringing them up. I just don't know if this is the guy to take us. They talk about it in hockey a lot more, I think, where a guy, takes the team and he develops them, and then they're going to bring in somebody else to finish it, win the cup. But is that the situation we're in? Is that where we're at here?
Not now. No.
Okay.
I mean, can you think of an example where a good team made a coaching change in the middle of the season?
No.
Can you think of one?
Well, not in pro ball. No, not in the pro system. College system they might, but not in the pro system.
Oh, it's happened in the NHL for sure. In hockey. Yeah, but in the NFL, no, it doesn't happen.
I'm only concerned with the NFL because this is what we're dealing with. And if you can think of one time ever where a team was pretty much the betting Super Bowl favorite that made a coaching change with a winning record in the middle of the season, I'd love to know about it. Maybe it's happened. It's 100 years.
What I was going to say about the winning record, are we sure this is a real winning record? We beat no one. And I know every week it's hard to win in the NFL.
Yes.
We beat no one though.
We are. I am sure that 4-2 is winning. Yes.
No, sure. You know what I'm getting at. Okay, come on. Don't act like I'm a dummy.
I just can't believe we're starting the week like this.
It's Monday.
Right, it's the first day of the week, and we're talking about if they lose on Sunday, how close will they get to firing the coach? Is your question? And I don't know. I think we like to pride ourselves in being able to make almost any conversation interesting. I just don't really know what to do with something that's predicated on them losing to Carolina on Sunday, so that they inch closer to changing over an entire operation that has won the division 5 times in a row and been within a whisker of making it to the Super Bowl a couple times. I don't know what to do with it. I think it just disregards so much of the good that has gone on here and just boils it down to a few select moments. I mean, you haven't been wrong yet. He has not delivered a championship here. I mean, I can't argue with you because the facts are irrefutably true. He has not done that. So you're going to stand on that square until what? Until he wins and then say, what, nothing? Or they don't win again and eventually he gets fired and you'll be right. I don't know what to do with the in-between. The in-between is all the games that are going to happen between now and whenever either of those things happen.
What to do with it now is, of course, nothing. That is what to do with it now, is nothing. Nobody would ever do anything with it now, even with another loss. Like, it's not a thing right now. I mean, are we so bored? Anybody else? Like, this is now almost every day that somebody's calling into... Basically, they don't even really usually say it. They just talk around it for 5 minutes and, waste your time with, well, I'm only saying this, and is it really a winning record? And, but what if it's a bad loss? These kinds of things. I just don't think I can't believe I need to say it out loud to anybody. I just don't think there's a scenario. We get to the end of seasons and the Bills lose dramatically, if not sometimes even offensively in the playoffs. And it still sounds kind of crazy to me, usually, the idea that they would make a change. And it doesn't mean that I think they're complacent. It means that I think they're happy, on balance, overall, mostly with who they've got and what they've got. And like earlier, we're saying that that they don't do that means that they're complacent, that they don't really want to win. It's just, to me, like mostly nonsense. I just don't think it's a conversation reasonable people are having. And I like it when our show sounds like it's a conversation between reasonable people. But here we go. It's week 8. And it's like, well, what if they lose this game, guys? I don't know. What if they do? I don't have to be right. I think and I'm going to say this out loud, which I can't believe. If they made a coaching change in the middle of this season, they would be considered nuts by anybody that seriously and professionally talks about this sport. Do you think I'm right?
Yeah, 100%.
Then what's next? I mean, what else can we talk about? Other than but we don't really want to say it because we don't really hate the coach. We just don't think he can win. And what kind of a take is that? I mean, because they haven't before, you can say it. People do. We know this because they call us when they want to say it. They want everybody to know that they are the ones who've said it. They have the guts. It just doesn't sound reasonable to me to even think about. At the end of the season, do I want to say this again now? I mean, we do sit here every day, and I know that means you're going to say the same things pretty often. I think if they lose in the end the same way, which is by not being able to get stops against even the very best teams, I'd listen to it. I might even be ready for it at that point. Because in my opinion, this is mostly why they've lost. Because they are too easy to score on in the playoffs when it matters most. And so at that point, okay, maybe. But I've got no use for that thought today. There's nothing that's interesting about that to me today. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no topic I want to build around. It's just it just has to wait. Now I just feel like I'm preaching, and I don't like that either. I don't like any of it. It's just nuts to me that this even comes up. Guys, what if they lose this game? The guy didn't even really ask the question about McDermott. He's like, what kind of coaching changes would you consider making? Like, okay, maybe I'd fire the linebackers coach. I don't know. What are you really asking? Say it. Right. Don't waste our time. Just say it next time. Just like McDermott has to go. I don't like him. I think they'll never win with him. Just say it. I'd respect that more. I wouldn't think it any less crazy, but I'd respect it more. All right, here's something else.
Okay.
Yikes. You wouldn't take the 2 seed right now, right?
No, I would not.
Do you think the Colts would? As important as the one is,
I don't. Boy, I mean, it's so new. You might still, if you really follow it day to day, you still might be leery of trusting it to the extent that you'd want to be striving for. You'd be just happy to be in, be happy to be a division winner, be happy to be the 2 even. I would want to push back against it, I think, even though, a big part of the reason here is that, I think it's early enough and it's not so lopsided anywhere. I mean, I'm a game back of them right now. Okay, go make that up. You're the Bills, they're Indianapolis. Maybe they'll just be better than you. I don't know, but I'd want to keep going. And if I were Indianapolis, I'm in that seat right now. I wouldn't want to just sign for, I'll settle for 2 or whatever. Keep going. You are mostly killing people you play. Maybe they're not any good, but you're doing it. I mean, you are doing it to them. They look fantastic.
They have to be at least pretty good.
Yeah.
And they're in great shape in their division. So if I'm that, I still think Houston might be interesting. I do not think Jacksonville is, or Tennessee. If I'm really confident in my division chances, then I might want to roll the dice. Then I might not need to, sign for anything less than the 1.
Yeah.
I'll be at home. If I win the division, I'll be at home necessarily.
Right.
And then if I can get the 1 seed on top of that, even better. But I want to try for it. I've got the lead in the conference.
Right.
I want to try for it. So I think I would say no if I were the Colts. But it's a little gutsy,
Yeah.
It's brave.
And considering how the tenor of the conversations we're having frequently enough here, maybe a lot of Bills fans right now would go, sure, I'm the 2. I won the division again. I passed New England. All right, I'm going to have to go to somewhere. Right now it would be Indianapolis. Sign me up for that. It means I had basically the same year I've been having. It's too early, and they're not so far back of anything right now. I would not want that either for the Bills. I'd want to keep going. Like, I can get there.
I like it. Here's Jeff next. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Jeff. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, guys. I guess my question always is, who are we hiring after this giant firing spree? Like, nobody ever seems to have answers as to who are we bringing in.
Oh, no. Somebody last week loved the Cliff Kingsbury idea. So you missed that.
Yes.
Someone this morning brought up Mike McCarthy. I believe that happened.
Yeah, exactly. What are we doing here? We're going to bring in the IT guy from Miami? Is that what we're doing? Again, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's like I'm going to burn down my house because I don't like it anymore. Like, okay, great. Then what are you going to do? Well, I'll rebuild it. How are you rebuilding it? I don't know. We'll just rebuild it. Okay.
Well, people, like Bulldog is saying, people have had names. And I don't think right now you need names. There'd probably be somebody with some credentials.
Yeah, those names, by the way, in case it wasn't clear, those names are horrible ideas in both cases, in my opinion. I wouldn't give Cliff Kingsbury the key to an umpire in the NFL again after how Arizona went. Congratulations on running a good offense for 1 year. We'll see what happens here moving forward. I know what his reputation is, and it should include that he was a disaster as a head coach.
He looks better when the quarterback can't get it right without him, to me, but fair enough. Thanks, Jeff. Mario's next. Hello.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Hey, I don't know how much you guys listen to Jeremy and Joe in the mornings, because I don't know if you want to listen to work when you're not at work, but they had Joe Moreno on last Monday, I think it was, and Joe had an interesting analysis of the team where he said, looking at the defense, you might be able to convincingly say they might not have the personnel to be too successful with the squad they have this year, and so the good formula for winning is put it all on the offense, and hopefully you're getting teams to play from behind, making the defense one-dimensional and forcing turnovers, which I think was our formula last year. And I'm all in on that. And I think the Atlanta game, if anything, was an indictment on Brady and even Keon Coleman and where they play him. And I would like to see them focus on the offense and make changes. And no, I'm not calling for anyone to get fired. It's 4-2, and to that other caller's point, that is a winning record if you did the math. But I would like to see them move Coleman into the slot where he played most of the time at Florida State, and then I would love for them to invest at the trade deadline in a receiver target for the 1 or 2 slot on the edge, 1 or 2 spot on the outside. If they were able to make a move like that, if you guys had to humor me, who would you want them to go after? I saw a cool trade rumor this week that the Bills were linked to potentially trying to go after Waddle in Miami. I doubt the Dolphins would ever do that. And then I guess he tweeted a picture of himself in front of the Bills logo before the Thursday night game, so people are speculating. So don't think that's going to happen, but I would like to see them get a receiver. Wanted to get your guys' take on that.
I love Jalen Waddle. I'd love Chris Olave. There's probably I'd even be interested in Shaheed, Olave's teammate in New Orleans, who's been in the rumor mill. I don't know how likely it is that any of these things are going to happen. Maybe they will do something with Coleman coming out of the break. There's been a lot of chatter around it, but I don't know. Coleman's failure to produce here beyond the fourth quarter of the opener is largely the driving force on me wanting to trade for Waddle or Olave. I think they need to replace him if they're going to find their way to someone who can credibly help them on the outside, because I don't think it's happening with Coleman.
Shakir is in the way of this move.
That's right.
The Shakir signing for me was always, it's just so Bills. I feel like he's fine, but I can't really do this with Coleman unless I just dump Coleman and oblige Shakir and use him effectively, I think. It's the same thing with Cook. Cook is fine. If I sign him to that contract, then I'm necessarily not, I think, going to be looking for a good running back, even just to play a complementary role for maybe a couple of years. And I don't like how that feels either. So I think the Bills have a lot of maybe Cook's better than that, or Shakir, but like they're at the same time they block paths to doing something like this. And I still think the bigger point, as we start another week of this with the receiver, is whether the general manager would want to eat his words and make that kind of move. Name the best receivers in the league for all I care. Name any of them. Is he going to want to do that with Palmer here, with Kincaid coming back, presumably, with even Samuel coming back? Are we sure he wants to dump the experiment? I don't know. They did make the Cooper trade, and you could look at that either way, I think, to try to predict what
it could be to the detriment of doing this because it didn't exactly splash, but it did happen, which lends itself to the idea that if he recognizes a need, he will act on it despite whatever he has said about it.
Right. So, 2 weeks to find out, right? 2 weeks and a day? 803-0550 for your calls. Thanks for listening. Sabres and Canadians tonight from Montreal. Pregame in an hour here on WGR.
Buffalo Bills are off the bye. They're going to get back to work later this week. They get ready to travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. We do have some big news from the Panthers, though we'll get to that here in just a moment, as the Bills have some big injury news for themselves. As per the NFL Transaction Wire, Buffalo has opened up rookie cornerback Maxwell Harrison's 21-day practice window. And, of course, this comes from Harrison picking up an LCL injury earlier on in training camp. While for the Panthers, they may not have quarterback Bryce Young, or at least the expectation is that he is going to be out. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. However, head coach Dave Canales would not confirm this earlier today, saying the team would take it day by day. Though expectations are Young will be out, and Andy Dalton would start at quarterback if that proves to be the case. Some other injury news in the NFL. Chiefs second-round rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman-Lott is out for this year with a torn ACL, and Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson still a non-participant at practice as he continues to recover from that hamstring injury. And then, to wrap up this week of football, we do have a Monday night doubleheader. It starts at 7 with Lions hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And good news for Tampa, they officially are going to have wide receiver Mekabuka back in the lineup. And then at 10 o'clock, it's the Texans. They are out in Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Both games are going to be over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, with pregame starting at 6. And that is because it is Sabres game night in Montreal. Pregame starting in just about an hour at 6:30 for a 7:30 puck drop. And the Sabres, they have won 2 in a row. And in net tonight, again, it is Alex Lyon getting the nod. Beck Malstein is out, though that is due to personal reasons. And while it is not official, all signs are pointing to 27-year-old defenseman Zach Metza making his debut tonight. Then in baseball, it's for all the marbles. Game 7 of the ALCS. The winner is going to take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber, George Kirby, your pitchers on the bump tonight. First pitch just after 8:10. That is your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
If the Bills play the Chiefs in January, which I expect those two teams to meet, wherever the game is, that game's coming down to one thing. Can Buffalo hit Mahomes? That has been the story, to me at least, in all these games they've played over the years. Ed Oliver's been invisible in those games. Greg Rousseau's largely been invisible in those games. And if that's the case, like, it's just over.
Matt Verram, our guest today from SI. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Lines are open now. We have guests on almost every day. If you ever miss anybody, go to the Odyssey app and catch up. As long as it's not too long ago, you should be able to do that. I don't know, was Friday too long ago? Adam Krautwurst was on with us on Friday, and Adam and I split a few different fantasy teams, and I know he's very sad today.
Oh, that's too bad. I hate to hear that about someone I admire so much.
He is ruining having come on our show on Friday and having touted George Kittle. Everybody start George Kittle.
Oh, yeah. I did ask him about that. Yeah, any hesitation on him coming back from injury? No, full go.
Full go, baby.
We played him.
I played him.
Thank you for coming.
And
0.
Adam today was like, well, his exact words were, my career is over and I don't even have one. That was such a good line. You'll be back, Adam.
Yeah,
you'll be back.
We'll need to talk to someone about fantasy at 4 o'clock on a Friday, probably soon.
Probably even this week.
So don't you fret.
Adam has nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody was saying the same things on Kittle, right? Like, no limitations. I'm kind of already bracing for Ibuka to be this tonight.
Right.
Oh, he's good to go, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Decoy.
Sure he is.
Sure he is. Let's go to John here. Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
Couple subjects. One regarding Brady in the game last week. I could sit at home and see what play package we're going to run. For example, if Cook was off the field for any time in the first 3 quarters, if Cook was off the field, we threw the ball 100% of the time. And Brady's putting certain personnel packages in for certain types of plays, and it's very obvious to the defense basically what we're going to do based on our personnel packages. And it's almost high schoolish. And I wish he would be a little bit less obvious what the play call is going to be. But take a look at it. Every time Cook is on the field or is off the field, we throw the ball up until about mid-4th quarter. Also, there's an old cliche that says players are made in the off season, not during the season. And I see a slower and weaker lower body strength in our quarterback. I don't think he worked as hard in the off season. I think that's kind of obvious by getting married, doing all the commercials, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not sure he worked hard enough to be the Josh Allen he was last year. I'll just hang up.
You are deriving this comment about his lower body strength based on your observations watching him, or is it just that you know he got married and is in a lot of ads now, so you're just connecting the two?
Honestly, it'd be hard to know the difference.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess I just wanted some more clarification on exactly what we're asserting here.
I don't know. Here's Adam next. Hi, Adam.
Jesus.
Oh, you sure you guys don't want to talk about Josh Allen's lower body strength more?
If we do, we will, I guess.
Yeah, stay tuned. We got another hour to go still before Sabres pregame.
All right. I got two questions about Beam that I want to ask you about. Number one, when he very publicly kind of went after the morning guys for their opinion on wide receiver, I kind of want to know what you guys really feel about that. I mean, obviously, I feel like Mike's comments before the break there make it sound obvious that, we're feeling right now that Beam kind of came out in a very public and aggressive way, and we feel like he would need to, quote unquote, kind of walk back his comments if he were to make a move at that position. But I feel like at the time that it happened, and I went back and listened to this recently, it sounded more like he was speaking directly about not selecting a receiver in the draft more so than recognizing whether or not the roster had wide receiver talent. So, I mean, that's question number one. I mean, where do you guys kind of land on that at the moment?
I have not gone back and listened to it recently, so I don't know. I don't know if he mentioned signing Josh Palmer in the course of that conversation or not, or if we just worked that into it as, this is what you've done. Let's check out the ledger and how you're doing here. So I don't know. Well, it was the Monday after the draft, so it would make sense that he would have been talking some about the draft class, but I thought he was defending the position in general, more so than just the draft eligible players. Like his choices at the position is what I'm saying. I think he was defending.
Yeah, fair enough. But the other thing I kind of wanted to mention is I know that he's talked publicly about not building a roster specific to any one particular opponent. You just kind of want to field the best roster you can. But with New England kind of looking like they found a guy here in Drake May, one consideration is not necessarily how you construct the roster player-wise, but how you construct and work around the salary cap. And one thing I've really wanted to see him start to do now that we're in the later portion of Josh Allen's, second half of his kind of prime here is whether or not he'll take more risks in kicking money down the road, especially because I feel like that's one way that you can sort of combat just how much cap space New England has with, Drake May on a rookie deal over the next few years. Making a move for a wide receiver, especially a good one, is obviously going to come at a cost. And I just wonder if that's something that you'd hope or expect or maybe want to see if that's something that they would start doing moving forward.
They have used void years. They don't have the reputation, and I'm assuming it's earned, that, say, Philadelphia has for doing it. But I think the Bills have done plenty of that in some of the restructures that are done here. So, yeah, I mean, I'd want them to use every single resource that there is. Every edge that you can find should be utilized and exhausted. And I assume that they are doing that. Some of their choices are hard, have been hard to overcome. They've got some contracts that are, to me, not very good value at all. The Dawson Knox contract comes right to mind. We'll see about this whole slew of guys that they signed this past offseason. I think we all were sitting back sort of cheering that on, and they're locked in now to guys that, I don't know, this year have mostly just kind of looked, all right. And that includes Benford. He's not been great this year. Like, that's a sneaky problem that they have overall. Like, the defense has got problems, but guys that you should be counting on to be great even have not been great. And so I don't know if that's, failure all around that makes it harder for him to function at the high level that he's been functioning at, but it's not going well. So I don't know. I mean, the overall point is, should they exhaust every financial option that there is? Yes, of course they should. And I think they do a fair amount of it already. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar enough with any of the websites that track this stuff to go find the void years. I mean, I could look individually through each guy. I think SpotTrack does itemize that. And I think there are some of those out there, but I don't know the totals and just how commonplace it is.
I guess I can't figure out to the caller's question why any of this would have anything to do with the Patriots. It's either good strategy or it isn't, right? I mean, is your cap modeling something that you would choose because another team, like your rival, does it a certain way? I think it's either smart or it isn't, but maybe I'm missing something obvious there. New England, I mean, it looks pretty promising for them, not even just for the future, but for the now. 5-2 now with the win here. They get the Browns this week, and then Atlanta. Now Atlanta has risen up. We've seen it, but it's still Atlanta, right? Carolina beat Atlanta 30-0. Does that do anything for you for this week? It's not how the league works, though.
I know it's not how the league works, but it was very tough to watch Atlanta in primetime last night look just feeble. Really, largely on offense. I mean, defensively, they did a decent. It was a 24-10 game or whatever it was. So they it's not like they got boat raced by the 49ers, but their offense looked like they didn't know what to do next. Largely in that game after running a masterclass for the first 30 minutes of the game against the Bills last Monday.
Tonight we have two games, including Tampa Bay at Detroit, which is up first at 7. Lions in all black tonight. You like that?
Not really.
No, me neither.
No.
Another great look when it's sort of the traditional blue and silver that I always forget the name. Hawaiian blue.
Hawaiian blue. I like
whatever it's called.
I like whatever they've done with the gray. When they have a gray, I've seen them in all gray, and I like that a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Don't like it at all. That's when you're out of ideas. Gray?
I think it's sharp.
It's like a business suit. Don Draper would wear it. All gray. But he was a handsome guy. He was a good-looking guy. He had style.
I guess.
He just wouldn't wear it with like a Lion's helmet on. You wouldn't see him wearing that.
No,
and a big number on his front and back, and stripes.
I don't have
pads.
I don't have every episode of Mad Men committed to memory like you probably do. But no, I don't remember that episode where he was wearing a Lion's helmet.
That's a show I think about going back and rewatching, but I just do not commit time to this anymore. My time does not go to watching
shows you've already watched.
Shows I've watched. The commitment of 7 years of that? Is that what that probably 7 seasons rather? I mean,
yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to end up getting there. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR. Yes. Football Monday.
Hey.
Now,
how about that?
You do have choices tonight. 2 football games.
Man,
the Sabres.
Busy night.
And the Blue Jays.
Game 7.
Game 7.
Don't bother watching the baseball game. It's been decided. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. showed up to the game in an Austin Matthews jersey walking in today. So they have no chance. The vibes are just way off now.
Did you see or hear about an interview he gave? This morning on Bet Sweats, they were talking about it, but I haven't seen it.
The thing on the field
maybe
afterward where he says, I was born ready.
Yes.
Yeah. I've not listened to it. I've seen it 10 different times. And in fact, Dan Schulman, who was on our show last Wednesday.
Wednesday. Maybe, yeah.
Whatever. After they won Game 3, before they won Game 4, whatever the timing of that was, just tweeted it, crediting the cameraman, camera person. I'm not sure if it was a man or a woman. Now that I'm thinking about it, and don't recall the name, and the director for just the shot that they got, and the reporter Hazel May, who does that on field for Sportsnet, giving Guerrero the room and like the way that it was shot. I think that's the thing that is getting a lot of the attention more so than what he said. But I'm not even. I think what he said was, "I was born ready.
I was born for this." Yeah.
I was born for this. Yeah.
Love it.
But they went the camera guy, again, camera person, I'm sorry, so sloppy, moved around Guerrero while it was happening. And so it was like this panoramic view of him looking at the crowd and the camera looking at him, looking at the crowd, and it was really powerful.
So it might have been staged?
I think it was just a post-game interview, and they got creative with it.
Okay.
But I don't know how much, if they had planned it ahead of time or what, or if it was just their instincts, given how it seemed like a pretty emotional moment there when he was asked that. So I don't know. I don't know about staged or anything. I just know it looked really dramatic.
I'm so excited for it. I hope he hits another 1 or 3.
Yeah.
And I hope he strikes out 10 Mariners while hitting 3 home runs.
I'm not sure if he can do that.
That's been done recently.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him strike out 10 Mariners and hit 3 homers.
Sometimes,
then I'll be impressed.
Sometimes when you fall asleep, you miss incredible things. That's what happened Friday night to me anyway. I'm sure lots of people watched it, but what a performance from Ohtani.
Sometimes when you watch curling, you miss cool things too. Joe texted me, "Are you telling me you watch curling instead of Ohtani?" Like, I totally am, 100%. I admit it. I own it. I'm sure it was amazing, but you should have seen Dunstone in the 5th with the double raised takeout angle shot. Bam. He moved the rocks all over the house.
Yeah, I was watching my eyelids. I missed all of it.
So Ohtani is basically Reggie Jackson in 77, only not on 3 swings, but Reggie Jackson in 77 and a masterpiece on the mound.
Right. 10 strikeouts.
It's only the LCS. It's not the World Series. Of course, it's amazing and probably unprecedented. But I did see that debate, and I liked that question. Like, were the stakes high enough? On CBS Sports, they were talking about this. Were the stakes high enough just to make this the absolute be-all, end-all baseball performance? I mean, maybe it was a playoff game, a clincher, even.
I think if he does that on a Tuesday in August, it probably, you know, we'll argue about anything. It's probably the most incredible baseball performance you've ever seen if it's a Tuesday in August.
Or haven't seen.
Right.
Or didn't see.
It coming in that spot, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the most incredible thing I've never seen. Because I didn't watch it. I mean, I read all about it. So, but I can't cop to having it be the most incredible thing I've ever seen because I didn't see it.
I love how hot Guerrero has been. I hope for him that he has a good night, if not a great night, that they win.
Me too.
Toronto, I mean, it's been a long time. They had the Raptors. But I think Toronto is like us with the Leafs history and even the Jays, where you just kind of expect the worst almost. You sort of have to fight off, not everybody, but I'd be this way. I have to fight off this kind of like, how are we going to blow this kind of thing? And, I mean, Guerrero has 6 homers in the postseason, even in Game 6. Like, there he is again.
Yeah.
Defensive plays. It's been just so tremendous. And here's hoping they win, as far as I'm concerned, and he has a night. I mean, if they win and he doesn't, we just move on, and that's fine. But, like, as much as he's done, Certain fans are going to need this too.
One more here.
You're going to need this
Right.
game too from Guerrero.
Yep.
All right, that's at 8 something, like 8:20.
8:08, I think, yeah. Fox Sports 1.
Sabres pregame waits until 6:30. Lines are open at 803-0550 for you. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
And they'll get back to work later this week as they get ready to travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. Big news, though, right out of the gate for the Panthers. Their starting quarterback, Bryce Young, expected to be out as he deals with a high ankle sprain. However, Panthers head coach Dave Canales did not confirm this earlier today when meeting with the media. If, though, this does prove to be true, Andy Dalton is expected to be the team's starting quarterback. And then for the Bills, per the NFL transaction wire, the team has opened up rookie corners Maxwell Harrison's 21-day practice window. And this, of course, does stem from Harrison picking up an LCL injury earlier on in training camp. Well, next year from the Bills, expected on Wednesday. Big injury news, for the Chiefs' second-round rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott is out for the year with a torn ACL, and then Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson still a non-participant at practice as he continues to deal with a hamstring injury. And this week of NFL football is going to wrap up with a Monday night doubleheader. It starts at 7. Lions hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then at 10, the Texans are out in Seattle versus the Seahawks. Both games are going to be over on our sister station, The Bet 1520, and that is because it is Sabres game night in Montreal. Pre-game coming up in about a half hour at 6:30. A 7:30 puck drop right here on WGR. For the Sabres, they have won 2 in a row. In net tonight, Alex Lyon gets the nod again. Beck Malenstein out, but it is due to a personal reason. And then while it is not official, all signs point to 27-year-old defenseman Zach Metza making his debut tonight. And in the NHL, it is a light night. Just 4 other games. 2 at 7. Rangers host the Wild, and the Kraken are in Philly versus the Flyers. 9:30 sees the Calgary Flames hosting the Jets. And at 10, Carolina is in Las Vegas as they will play the Golden Knights. And in baseball, it is for all the marbles. Game 7 of the ALCS. The winner will take on the Dodgers in the World Series. Toronto hosts Seattle. Shane Bieber, George Kirby, your pitchers on the bump tonight. First pitch just after 8:10. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Okay, so New England now has the lead in the AFC East by a half game or more if you're the head-to-head series type to include, what would that make it, 3/4 of a game? I don't even know. 5-2 versus 4-2. Next week, Bills at Panthers, Patriots home to the Browns. It was always, what is this to say? It was always a possibility, this, with New England. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Would you have thought 5-2? Sure, I would answer yes to that. I wouldn't have assumed it, but the game for me, for them, was the game here. And if you're good enough to win here, you might be good enough to, dominate that schedule they have. So This isn't brand new to us. Once the Patriots won here, or even before that, I think you wanted to be wise to this possibility. Maybe the Patriots are good enough to make this a real battle.
I feel like right now I'd be, I think I want to say as early as it is, and as I think still questionable their overall roster might be, I'm going to expect it to be a grind. They just don't have very many tough games. The Bills don't have that many tough games on the schedule. But New England has fewer than them even, and they've got the lead right now. So I've got to certainly – I got a while before I get there, but I got to target making sure I win there when I go there, at New England for one, and then I got to pick one up along the way here. And I think that given their schedule, I think that should be challenging. There will probably be a week here. It did not happen to them yesterday. Credit to them. They had their big win here a couple Sunday nights ago, and they've won a couple games since then. There could have been, a dip in there, but there isn't. And but they'll probably have a game here somewhere. Maybe they lose to the Jets or something. Like, I don't know. Like, something stupid will probably happen to them. There's no way that they're immune to that. They're not so good that they're just going to just show up and win, I don't think. So
the Bills haven't even been good enough to
right. The
enjoy that.
The Chiefs last year were kind of that. Right? They weren't that dangerous, but all they did was win all the time to the point where they didn't lose their second game of the year until they laid down in the finale. So, I mean, it can happen, but it's pretty rare. So,
does this feel different than 2 years ago when it was Miami in the AFC East? Miami, that year is the year where they scored the 70 points. 3-0 start. Then they came here and lost big. 2 more wins after that. That's the year the Bills are bobbling along at 6-6, and Miami at one point is 9-3, 3 games ahead. You never remember it exactly the same, but the feeling with the Dolphins, I think, was always like, doesn't matter. I mean, they didn't have to lose that lead, which they did kind of dramatically in the division, but let's play them anywhere. Right.
Going worst case scenario, I'm a wild card. They win the division. I maybe it would have lined up that the Bills would have had to go there in the 7-2 matchup if that would have happened.
I think that is what would have happened had the Bills lost that final game.
And I would right now concede that, bring it on. Whereas I'm not as eager to say bring it on with New England. So, like, to me, the quarterback is just much more dangerous. Drake May than Tua is. I mean, Tua can have his days, certainly, and especially if it were down there and the weather were nice, like maybe he can put one on you. Drake May, I feel like I trust him way more than Tua already. And there've been far fewer great performances so far. He just hasn't played that much yet. But even with that said, I'd be more worried about going to play in New England this year in a wild card game than I would have been in Miami 2 years ago.
I'm looking at, because I have that Dolphins season up, I wanted to make sure about the timeline. I'm looking at that box score from when they scored 70-20. It's incredible. It's not like all kick returns. It's incredible that happened against Denver. 70-20 was a score of this game. Total yards, is my math correct here? That 363 total yards times 2 would be 726. And those were the two teams' totals exactly. Denver totaled 363 yards, and Miami exactly doubled it. 726 yards in that game. Just like everything. I mean, it's just everything here. Well, it's not the same team.
It is.
Well, it's way worse.
It is incredible that team has have they? I mean, 70 points. Have they even gotten to 40 again? You know what I mean? Like, where did it go? That might be as eye-popping statistically as that yardage total is, and of course the 70 points in and of itself is incredible. Just might be the most glaring example of like every week any week anything can happen, because they have never looked like that team really again.
They had some big games that year after that, but no, last year was a struggle. This year it's a mess.
This year it's over. I mean, it's got to be over. I mean, they're going to keep going with Tua even, but like, didn't it sound like last night that McDaniel was sort of building the bridge to somebody else is going to play quarterback? It just sounded like that to me right after the game. But I mean, today, cooler heads, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but I think everybody that matters there is going to be out, including him, including the quarterback. As cumbersome as it is, they will find a way to split that up over 2 years and just get done. Because if they're going to fire everybody, you'd rather just take that medicine now like the Broncos did. Sean Payton didn't work with Russell Wilson. $80 million, fine, we're doing it. We got to do this. And I think now that has happened and it has been successful. I mean, all Denver's done is be in they look good for the playoffs this year. They were in the playoffs last year, the year they did that. So I think Miami will fire everybody. They'll eat whatever they got to eat there and just start over.
I mean, Tua, I often want to defend him because he gets hated on pretty hard. But I think you can't do what he did, which was after their last loss, that was to the Chargers, I think, last Sunday, just sort of call out the veterans, call out the other players.
Guys are skipping players-only meetings or showing up late to players-only meetings.
You put the coach in a spot because he wants to defend the players, but he also doesn't want to lose the quarterback, and he can't have it both ways. So you put the coach in a spot. You put everybody sort of on blast like that, and then come out yesterday and
3 more picks
and play that game.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't fly. You can't rip the team and then show up and what did they just did nothing in this game yesterday against the Browns, because that's when you've got to rise above it and be like, I'm gonna lead. So yeah, that's bad for him. We haven't talked about the Denver game. You mentioned Denver. Insane.
Yes. That was incredible.
How did they do it? 33 points in the fourth quarter from 0. 24-8 with 6 minutes left. They out-Ravensed the Ravens in week 1.
Right.
It was like a bigger collapse.
Yes.
They out-collapsed the week 1. That's another word that I'm going to try to not say.
Out-collapsed?
Out-collapsed. It takes so long to say it. A worse collapse than Baltimore when they were here in the opener. 24-8. And the Giants even get the score to go back ahead.
Right.
Or they get to the 1-yard line and then eventually score. I gotta look over that box. I didn't see enough of that game to talk on it. But that's an incredible win. Denver, maybe that cancels their loss in Indianapolis, where they win the game, but there's a penalty on a missed field goal.
Right. And he got to re-kick. Yeah.
What a game that was. 33-32. What was the best? Was that the best game yesterday, or was that not even that good? It was just a great finish. Sam and Joe this morning were saying all the favorites won, except the Colts were a 1-point underdog.
It wasn't a great game. I was red zone, but it was on a lot, it felt like, and it just felt like nothing was happening for the longest time. It was 19-0 going into the fourth quarter, right?
Yes.
So it just, like, it's not the Giants. Like, 19-0 is you're winning, you're dominating, you're shutting them out, but it's not like they were home free. Obviously, it just didn't feel like there was much happening there. I don't know, the best game. I don't know. It was another sort
Rams.
of day, but I did not see the Rams early. Philadelphia, Minnesota was pretty good.
Okay.
I saw a good amount of that, and that was live. And the Vikings overcame some big mistakes by Wentz, but still they lost anyway. But it was a game, and it wasn't. It didn't look like it was going to be a game all along. And then Minnesota made it pretty good at the end. So, yeah, I don't know. Any game that ends, the team scores 33 points in the fourth quarter to win going away, I got to say was a great game. Even if 3/4 of it were tough to watch.
I guess.
It was pretty incredible.
I'll tell you who I love watching this year, though.
Dallas. That was hot, too.
That is hot, isn't it? It's Dallas, I know, but they're just doing almost anything they want on offense. Lamb back, 100 yards, touchdown. No easing him back in.
Throw it down the sideline to Pickens. Fine.
Pickens.
Right.
Javonte Williams looks good. 100 yards, touchdown.
Ferguson's riding a touchdown streak, I think.
Yeah, I tweeted how, like in fantasy, it's so hard because so many things are not predictable. Not even injuries only. Of course, injuries. But usage, right? I mean, just what teams you want to bet on rookies. But Travion Henderson in New England. They're winning. He's really not doing anything. Do you think they mind? They'll get to Travion Henderson, if he's even good enough, but they'll get to him. Doesn't matter. You draft him because you watch Ohio State, and you know it's second-round draft capital. So, okay, Ramondre Stevenson, he's old regime, not even good. Then he starts fumbling. Doesn't matter. You're never getting Henderson. Apparently, can't have it. So There's all kinds of stuff like that. You just never know what is going to happen. Dallas this year, completely predictable. Everything about it. They're going to throw it like crazy because they don't really have. This actually wasn't quite right. They don't really have the running back.
But Williams
the running
is having a nice year.
Very good.
Yeah.
But they still super pass heavy. They lose Lamb for 3 games or so. Still fires. And then Pickens, and then Ferguson. Prescott has always been great. There wasn't any. The defense is terrible. So you've got that. Everything is. It's like the Bengals last year. Everything was like, okay, this is what should happen here. So if you bet on that. Now, maybe I'm jinxing it if there's another injury or something, but here's one where we knew what was going to happen and we were right. It's nice to have that every once in a while you sit there and look at your lineup and you've got 7 guys with the red D next to their name because they're injured, and your entire lineup is in shambles because of it. This helps. One of these kind of helps. Indy at 6-1, they roll in LA. I mean, that was like an easy win at the Chargers.
It was. The Chargers got to within 14 at some point in the second half, and the ensuing kickoff almost went all the way back for a touchdown. Like Indianapolis ran it back into the red zone, and just Taylor walks in for another score. I think at the end of that drive, whatever, they scored again. Thanks for coming. The Chargers just made it interesting. I'm watching Red Zone because I'm trying to keep tabs on that game primarily. I haven't seen Indy play much. And, I care about the outcome, obviously. Both teams, really. I mean, the Chargers losing isn't terrible at all for the Bills either. But I would have rather it be Indianapolis losing. So I'm there. Okay, this got in. All right, let's go. Get a stop. No, how about a 90-yard kick return instead?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Takes the air out.
Thanks a lot for that. But very clean game. Indianapolis seems like they're playing to me. There's just not. Jones just does not make any mistakes.
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know. I mean, if there is some simplistic thing here that they're getting away with that no one is caught up to yet, somebody better find it soon because it's getting late.
Well, I don't know. This is very much condensed, but wasn't the thing with him that he would just never take chances? Jones. Remember he had those stats about just not having hardly any touchdown passes, and I don't know, maybe he was just skittish. And this reads like a team where he could still be a little bit that, but it doesn't hurt them because the line is so good or Taylor is so good. Like the structure of it, I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it at best, but that he maybe can function, even thrive in this offense because he doesn't have to, take shots. And you know what else about this? And maybe this is too cliche-ish or wrong as well. I just feel like you go to New York as a rookie, good luck. I mean, these are troubled franchises, the Giants and the Jets. And the odds are against you. And you played at Duke. And nobody thought you were that good anyway. Then you got to go in there and beat that challenge. Not easy. And if it goes wrong early, that would really mess with your head. And it wasn't long before Daniel Jones was kind of a joke.
Yep.
Gettleman was a joke, and the whole idea was laughed at. And so eventually, very similar to Darnold, eventually it ends, and you can take a deep breath and play with it. You know your limitations now. You have experience. Everybody else knows your strengths and weaknesses. And, if you're a team like the Colts that needed somebody to complement Richardson or just to take over, here's a guy that has some of the things you need, and he's got good physical traits. So is his head clear? Because that would be, to say the least, probably an amazing, awful, intense learning experience those years where you're playing quarterback for the Giants and everybody thinks you're a joke. Like, how do you live like that? And so finally, the relief of that ending, he goes to Minnesota last year as a backup, never has to play, which maybe was good too, but you're learning under O'Connell. And then this.
Now Shane Steichen, right.
And that's Darnold too, only with more teams in there.
Yeah.
Where you go to the Jets even. Worse than the Giants. Maybe.
I think worse than the Giants, yes.
Just like the dysfunction.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, kid. And then you're a joke and you're seeing ghosts and whatever. Just, you got to get out of there and hope that somebody else will take a chance on you.
Enter Shane Steichen. Like the idea of him doing what he did for Hurts for Anthony Richardson. And not that Jones is as striking a physical specimen, the athlete that Richardson is, but he's big enough, he can move, and he can throw it. Like, it all works. Like, he might have close to, no, Hurts is a more elite runner than him, but, like, he might be physically pretty close to Jalen Hurts. And Steichen is making it work. I mean, that's where he made his bones with Hurts in Philly, and I just never would have seen it coming.
His sack percentage is the best in the league this year, Jones. Now, see, that's a lot of it has to be the system there, right? Here's a guy that would just, and if he's not going to take chances, he'll take sacks. Somebody like that would do that. They would just sort of give up on plays once in a while, but he's got it so nice, and, no slight on him, that it doesn't even really show yet, at least. I mean, maybe this will change overnight even, because we're all out here saying, like our guest earlier put it, Matt Verram, we're all saying the same thing. It's Daniel Jones. But I don't know. He's been through a lot. I like it. And Taylor is just destroying this year. And I mentioned before, I think Offensive Player of the Year, we sometimes go through hoops with like, well, what if it's a quarterback? Can it be what is he a function of the rest of the offense or weapons or whatever? Taylor is just dominating. And we know he's good or great even. We already knew that. And here he is now just, I mean, touchdowns, yards, all of it.
And he's winner. The coach has got to be the favorite for Coach of the Year, right?
I don't actually know.
I'd be stunned if he's not. I mean, they're at this point they're going to win 11 games maybe at minimum. That's your Coach of the Year. I think coming from Daniel Jones. Remember how it sounded when they just were going to have a competition between he and Anthony Richardson. Like, that's the case for the coach. He made the right choice. Look at what he's done with Daniel Jones, and they go win 11 or 12 games. Like, he's Coach of the Year. I think that's over already.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some other guys a little bit like that, like Seattle's guy, but I think right now he'd win for sure.
Yeah, Darnold already did this last year under someone else. So if he's playing good again, like, okay, well, somebody already fixed him. Like, good job on the resale market, but somebody already did the work. I know it doesn't exactly work transitively like that, but I'm just saying. I think Steichen is going to waltz to that award.
Who is, you're probably wondering, the favorite right now for the Jack Adams Award? Well, I'm not sure I have an answer, but the Sabres have won 2 in a row. They're showing they can win different ways, Bulldog.
Yes, they are.
High-scoring games and then right back with a shutout of Florida. Tonight, the Canadiens in Montreal. Paul Hamilton is there. I'll say it. We have often with these pregame conversations with Paul, musical accompaniment that can sometimes be even very distracting. Montreal, it's sort of perfect. It's sort of light organ music, and I think I'm looking forward to a good vibe behind Paul in our upcoming conversation.
I agree. It would really surprise me if we had a French-speaking Flock of Seagulls cover band or something playing. Yeah.
Yes, but that might be funny. We'll find out who Zach Metza is and talk about the Sabres' recent performances and tonight's game with the Canadiens, a team Bulldog recently said he thinks is very good.
I'm very high on Montreal.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sabres pregame is next. This is WGR.